Oh, 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 oh boy. Welcome to Fluff, Sexy Bitches, and welcome to SCP Reading. God damn. I ate so much. I had so much food. I'm definitely gonna be full for this. You know, one thing you don't know right now, but you will probably see when I read the experiment logs for SCP-914. I always read them after my breakfast, and like I shower. Well, I eat breakfast first, and I shower, and then I'll read it. But because they take so long to read, by the time I'm like halfway through, like one of the parts, I would already be hungry again. Like my stomach would start growling, and I'd be like, I just had breakfast like an hour, like 1 hour and a half ago. But my stomach's like, yeah, that's not enough. This is a job. We have to go far for this. Let me take that off. Can I? Yeah, the brightness is a bit immense. Bit insane. There. Same with you. You don't need to be that bright. Yeah, that looks a bit nicer now. Lighting wise. Ooh, boy. Oh yeah. You can probably now. Oh wait, hold on. I didn't think about that. Let me change that for y'all real quick. That's the follower one. I was about to say you can probably see my follower and subscriber goals above me now. That has been added, freshly new. I want to reach 100 followers on Twitch before the end of June. Since then, I'm going to be gone for a vacation. And it's going to be a 3 weeks vacation, so I want to get that done. And 15 subscribers is just a general goal right now. There's not really any time limit. Ugh. But it's up there now. Let me see how it looks like on full screen. Yeah, I can tell that the hold on. Well, because see, this is a bit too big now, isn't it? I don't want it to be this big, but then of course it's much clearer to read. Because the 46 days to go gets really smudged up otherwise. Just how about just like barely bigger? Can I do something to like make it a bit easier to read, maybe? Bar text color. Oh, okay, that's the no, that should stay black, please. That should stay black. I'm sorry. I'll fix it another time. Because right now, for now, let's get to reading, shall we? So, the first one of the SCP-950s is called Clothes Dryer. What could this entail? What could this be? Why would they call it the clothes dryer? Is it a sort of like virus that just instantaneously soaks up all the liquid from clothing, and so it becomes dry, and that's why it's like an SCP, because like, you know, it comes freshly out of the washing machine, it's soaked, but then this thing hops on it and just next thing you know, 5 seconds later it's completely dry. You know how in video games, whenever like a character jumps in the water and then comes out of the water, the dripping, the clothes are a bit more like reflective, a bit more shiny, but then like 10 seconds later they're full up dry again. That kind of logic, that's what I'm thinking. Safe. SCP-950 is to be stored in a well-lit room with a video camera in one corner and is to remain plugged into an isolated electrical generator. The output resulting from the completion of SCP-950 activities must be handled with extreme caution. By the way, let me just go over here real quick. Thank you. Just want to make sure that I have all my sound. All non-Class D personnel must handle the laundry or any baskets containing the laundry with sterile gloves and hospital-grade masks. All output is to be inspected and photographed as directed by the lead of SCP-950 testing. All articles output are to be incinerated afterwards unless directed by the lead of testing. Personnel who wish to volunteer their own laundry must first be vetted, and the contents of the submission must be inspected before they are granted entry to the testing room. Now, SCP-950 is a black color dryer of the Afro series from GE. All components match with visual examples of this series. Though GE has never made them in black. When the machine is started, so it's not a virus. Audi was wrong. It is actually a dryer, but it's black. That makes it special. When the machine is started on any setting, any laundry within the machine goes through a normal tumbling and drying process. However, halfway through the determined cycle, the contents will begin to change or disappear entirely. What? You gonna tell me I'm gonna lose my favorite shirt? I'm gonna lose my absolute favorite shirt? No. How dare you? When the cycle ends and the door is opened, what is found is a collection of clothing entirely different from what was put in. Well, I don't want it. Input objects that are not clothing also go through this process and end up as laundry in the same manner. When the machine is empty, the cycle runs as normal and no transformation occurs. All tests have shown that the resultant laundry has never been seen before by the person who owned the input clothing. As well, in almost all cases, the output articles are much dirtier than those input and are often covered in stains. Human and other animal bodily fluids of all known kinds have been restored in various articles of clothing, and there have been several with contagious viruses including Ebola and redactive. Occasionally, some articles have tears and cuts corresponding to those that would have been made by various kinds of weapons. DNA samples have been drawn from many of the output articles. Some samples match with those of victims of crime or disease, and more match with people who are listed as healthy and suffered only temporary injury or illness. About 40% of the DNA samples are either animal DNA or human DNA that has not been previously recorded in any database. 3 articles have had residues of crushed insects of previously undiscovered species. 1 article, they were expunged. No known life on Earth. Addendum. To better illustrate the condition of the output clothing, 3 excerpts from the test have been added. For photographs and complete transcripts of more tests, see document 950 gamma. By the way, I need to check something. Now that I think about it. Here we go. Okay. Just wanted to double check. Real quick. Okay, let's go on. Test 950 Gamma 6. 5th 12 2009. List of submitted articles. 5 standard issue D-class uniforms previously washed and dried. 1 civilian sport jacket, large size. 3 pairs of plain white ankle socks, lightly used and unwashed. 6 pairs of underwear, recently washed and still wet. Settings used, tumble dry, 60 minutes, colors. Okay. Put them all in there, let's see what happens. Bingo! Okay, list of output articles. 1 white tank top, woman's fit, dry blood stain with small knife tear in stomach area. Honestly, this is a good SCP to do to use in the series, so I'm just going really quickly. Jot that down real quick. Already from like what I can see, the idea is a lot of fun. That's a I wanna do it. Alright, let me just there we go. And finito. Okay. 1 black sports sock balled up with dry saliva stains. Ew. I mean, I guess that means somebody got gagged with a sock. 1 pair of children's-sized pajama pants torn down the outside of the left leg. 2 pairs of men's medium-sized underwear stained with and test 950 gamma 09 8th 27th 2009. List of submitted articles. 125 x 25 cm square of heavily worn and dirtied carpet. 2 stands D-class pillowcase 1 week since previous washing. 1 king-size bed sheet from researcher Garton's living quarters had not been washed for 30 days. Small dry blood stain in corner. Settings used, tumble dry, 60 minutes, heavies. So before it was colors, now we have heavies. Alright. Now with the list of output articles, let's see how fucked up this gets. Twin-sized bedsheet covered in a layer of rotten biological residue. Later analysis revealed it to be mostly human skin and muscle that have been left in very salty water for at least 6 months. Henry, I just ate big time, so forgive me if I have to throw up. Formal men's tuxedo displaying signs of advanced age and decomposition. Staff believe it to be between 10 and 15 years old, and traces of human flesh and bone remain on the inside, as well as traces of soil on the outside surface, so somebody who was buried. 4 pairs of lady hosiery heavily stained by sweat. Analysis proved inconclusive as to identity of wearers, and 1 was torn in multiple places, while the other 3 of the same kind were intact. 2 infant-sized button-up shirts, both dark blue, both have name Peter written on tag on neck in blue ink, and no unusual stains or residues were observed on either. Test 950 gamma 3. Okay, the 2nd 15th 2009. List of submitted articles. 5 small plastic children toys without any complex electronics or metal parts, selected to avoid damage to the inside of the machine. Settings used, tumble dry, 30 minutes, delicates. List of output articles. 5 plastic wristbands as used by modern morgues to identify bodies. Each wristband had the name of a child that had died due to ingesting small toys or parts of toys. It should be noted that each name was traced to a different country, and all 5 had died in the last year. We're starting with a dark one, eh? We're starting with a dark one. Where's my text? That's the chat box. There it is. I was worried if for a moment it vanished on me. All right. Yeah, that was a fun idea. I like that. I like that a lot. Imagine just putting your sock in it, and next thing you know, you get something disgusting back out. Imagine explaining that to your parents. Like, you just doing your laundry, and then like the laundry's finished, and your mom just decides to like go and be like, oh, don't worry, I'll take care of the laundry. And next thing you know, a sock with saliva stains, a shirt with blood and a knife wound in it. But I mean, my mom is very, very observant with clothing. Like, she knows which clothes like she bought for us or that I bought for myself. So if there's a set of clothing in there that she doesn't recognize, she'll be like, whose clothes are these? And why is that in here? And why is there a blood stain and a knife gash in one of these clothing? And then she would call us and be like, what is this? And be like, I don't know. I've never seen that before. My mom would trust me on that, but of course, at the same time, I would be freaked out. I'd be like, okay, something's haunted and I don't know what is. My friend Lucas. My friend Lucas. And Lucas is in all caps. So it could be that Lucas is not like... Lucas could be the anomaly. What if Lucas is just an imaginary friend that can influence the environment, the world around him, and somebody's just like that's my friend Lucas, you know, like it's basically Foster's home for imaginary friends, but except that the imaginary friends are invisible. So instead of like everybody realizing that the imaginary friends are actually there, they're actually all invisible, and it causes havoc, just chaos. Okay, that's the second save now. A copy of SCP-951-1 is to be kept in a standard containment locker and to be used only for testing. So it's in a locker, so it's not an imaginary friend, that's for sure. Extensive information with suppression of SCP-951 is not necessary. However, websites concerning video game glitches or bugs are to be regularly monitored for description of SCP-951, and any individuals discussing SCP-951 are to be made to believe that SCP-951 is a regular non-anomalous glitch. Individuals further perpetrating SCP-951's anomalous nature are to be located and given a Class A amnestic and a copy of -1 replaced with a confirmed, non-affected cartridge. In addition, Foundation-sponsored ROM image files of non-anomalous copies of -1 are to be distributed to avoid accidental upload of affected cartridges and minimize exposure to SCP-951. SCP-951 is a glitch found in the Sega Genesis, Sega Mega Drive game Pauper, Rise of the Monster King, hereby designated -1. Is that a real game, or is that something the Foundation made up? It's a fake one. Okay. Yes. Alright. A turn-based role-playing game created by Japanese developer. The glitch has been found in approximately 1 out of every 3 cartridges. However, there does not appear to be any recognizable pattern found among the affected cartridges. Uploaded ROM image files of affected copies of -1 do appear to have the same anomalous properties as physical cartridges. Typical gameplay consists of the player gathering party members or monsters and using these monsters to fight in enemy encounters found throughout the game. Halfway through the first act of the game, the player is captured and taken to the dungeon of Doorlock. Normally, in this instance, the player would meet with the character Hirago and use that character for subsequent battles during the escape. However, if the player skips talking to Hirago and instead escapes utilizing a bug found in the dungeon room that allows the player to walk through walls, the player has no monsters to use. In a non-affected cartridge, the game simply crashes after exiting the area. However, in an affected cartridge, the next battle encounter will introduce an instance of SCP-951 in the player's party. SCP-951, nicknamed Lucas in-game, does not have a defined figure, instead displaying as a block of randomized pixels. Despite this, SCP-951 functions like a regular monster, utilizing special skills from the movesets of other monsters in the game during battles. At specific scripted points of the game wherein the character Hirago is meant to have dialogue, SCP-951 replaces the character's dialogue with mostly garbled text. Though recognizable words such as friend and play have been observed, repeated tests of these scripted events have shown that dialogue display changes for each playthrough. Continual use of SCP-951 will cause other bugs to occur within the game, including player item count fluctuating during battles, often providing 4 to 6 extra items at any given time. I got another message. Okay. She will join my stream. That's really cool. Nice. Nicer. Enemy characters randomly being defeated without ever being interacted with. This is limited specifically to random encounters. Scripted boss monsters are not affected. Graphical and interactivity errors of non-central sections of the game. Example, houses that do nothing to further the story of the game becoming inaccessible. Average experience bonus from defeating monsters significantly increased, often giving 2 to 3 times more experience than normal. Outside of scripted dialogue encounters, SCP-951 had displayed the ability to communicate with personnel through the use of dialogue boxes that appear on screen outside of battles, understanding and vocalization of researchers. Text display within these boxes is much clearer, and SCP-951 appears to be very friendly when communicating, often suggesting methods of working through the game quickly and effectively. As the game progresses, SCP-951 continues to increase in power with the player and continues to assist the player with each fight. If the game is beaten using SCP-951, the cutscene at the end detailing the fates of each of the characters plays as normal. However, the scene detailing the fate of Hirago is replaced with SCP-951 and says, "Lucas made a new friend and will always cherish the time they have playing together. Thank you for knowing me." Starting a new game after completing a game and performing the glitch will result in a new instance of SCP-951, having no memory of the player or any conversations it may have had. Addendum. The following is a sample of discussion concerning -1 and SCP-951 for Foundation intelligence agents to use as a guide on how to handle discussions concerning SCP-951. In this instance, the user, Anonymous, is the Foundation agent. Show log. Lysalphos. Hey, isn't it Lysalphos? That's from Zelda. Oh wait, those are Reggie? Reggie? From Nintendo? Okay, so we have 940. Oh, also, Lysalphos 940. I'm not gonna do that for every one, I'm just gonna do that for all the new ones. So Lysalphos says, "Hey, has anyone played Proper Rise of the Monster King? I found it at a garage sale recently, and so far it's pretty cool. Anyway, the reason I bring it up is because I found a pretty awesome glitch monster that kind of breaks the game, and I was wondering if anyone else found it." Reggie 942 at Lysalphos. Are you talking about Lucas? Lucas is fucking bro tier. And then we have Wet Tualo 945. Lucas is definitely up there with shit like Miss and Go, although I didn't care much for the way he fucked with my screen. Oh shit, is Lucas going to fuck with my save? Like what Miss and Go does with Pokemon? Why is there a random ass... Is that an actual dot? Why is there a dot here? Miss and Go doesn't fuck up your file. That was M. And from what I've seen, Lucas doesn't do anything bad to your save. Rockwick 955. Lucas make the game easy modo. Anyone who uses him is a scrub. Not using Lucas, casual detected. I think Lucas just talked to me. My mom called me downstairs and I said I'd be down in a minute, and the game popped up with something like, "Are you leaving already?" Creepy. Probably just a coincidence. Anonymous 1010. Well, Troller is correct. Lucas was supposed to be a monster in the game that was cut out early, as you could probably guess from its odd name compared to the other monsters in the game, and using it pulls data from the game in odd places. Chances are if you get random pop-up when using Lucas, it's the game assuming you're doing something that you're not. How do you know that? Neat. I've been working on a ROM hack of ProTMK, so I've seen the system firsthand. Further irrelevant data removed. The following is an interview log with SB951 conducted on May 13th. Show log, please. Good morning, SB951. What do I... Well, it's Lucas, so he's... Or at least... Hello, today we should check out the magma caves. I think there's some pretty neat stuff in there. Perhaps, but I have a few questions for you first. Whatever you want to do, I'm happy to do it with you. Alright, so what is your name? Lucas, of course. Well, I mean, you can call me SB951, which I think is a pretty neat name too. Of course. Where do you come from, SB951? What do you mean? What is the earliest thing you can remember? I didn't mute my computer. Meeting you for the first time. And that is the earliest thing you can remember at all? SB951 does not respond for 4 minutes. Yep. Why did it take you so long to respond? I was thinking. I see. SB951. Why do you help players to beat this game? Players? Let me rephrase. Why are you helping me beat this game? Because you're my friend, and I want you to win. Why do you consider me your friend? You hardly know me. I've never had any friends, and I like you. You're nice to me. How can you say that you never had any friends if your earliest memory is meeting me? The same reason I know my name is Lucas. I just do. I see. Are you aware of what happens to you after the game is completed? I die. Doctor pauses momentarily before continuing. Could you elaborate what you mean by that for me, please? When this game is over, I'll be dead. I don't know what happens after that, but I don't know that I die for sure. If you're aware that you're going to die, wouldn't it make more sense for you to keep me from winning? No way. That would make you sad, and I don't want that. Like I said, you're my friend, and I'm going to help you out however I can. I see. I believe this concludes our interview for today. Thank you, SB951. You're welcome. Are we going to play now? Not right now, SB951. Ah, okay. You promise we'll go to the magma caves later? I promise. While it is certainly unusual that SB951 is aware that it will die when the game is beaten, unless there's some ulterior motives that we have not considered, SB951 appears to be harmless. Doctor. The following printed document was recovered alongside 16 affected cartridges of SB951-1. In addition, each cartridge was engraved with a serial number, one of which having the word Prime engraved after its serial number. Investigation into the serial numbers is ongoing, however, results so far have been inconclusive. Show document. Logical Unified Central Anomaly System Output Specimen 00004089 Deletion Log. Reason for deletion: failure of primary modification protocol. Anomaly does not retain complex information after cycle is completed. Log of events: executing protocol AD5555. Deletion of unsuitable anomaly. Error: protocol AD5555 failure. Restarting. Error: protocol AD5555 failure. Restarting. Error. Protocol AD5555 failure. Executing backup. Protocol AD2525 deletion of unsuitable anomaly. Error. Protocol AD2525 failure. Restarting. Error. Goddamn. Protocol AD2525 failure. Restarting. Error. Protocol AD2525 failure. Deletion. Protocols failed. Unable to delete specimen. Specimen 00004089 discarded. End of line. Ooh. My friend Lucas, you were just trying to help me out, brother. You just want me to beat the game, bro. All you want from me is to beat the game. And I didn't do it. That's a wholesome one. We have a wholesome SCP again. That's nice. It's been a while. It's been a long while. Do we have anything? Yeah, here.
Nice.
Yeah, it is indeed nice. It is indeed very nice. It's been so long. NP Rock. NP Rock. What could NP stand for? No problem, Rock. That nice penis, Rock. That nuclear power, Rock. Never painful, Rock. Neuron pixel, Rock. I don't know. I don't know what to start with this one. So let's see. A content warning. Interesting. I never saw a content warning before. It's keto. Well, we went from 2 saves to keto, so I was just gonna say, buckle up. Okay, special containment procedures. Musical projects under the effect of SCP-952 are to be terminated by any means possible, and any physical media storing recordings of SCP-952 influenced music are to be copied onto a standardized Type-C anti-memetic storage device, then destroyed. Venues. Venus, help me! Venus that have hosted SCP-952 infected musicians are to be closed until such a point when it can be confirmed that none of the staff are affected. Development of a counter-memetic agent to combat SCP-952 is underway. Until its completion, all individuals affected by SCP-952 are to be detained. As a precaution, Foundation agents in the music industry should seek to discredit math rock as a genre until such time when SCP-952 is fully contained. Relevant personnel should refer to document 952-32 for more detail. Description: SCP-952 is an anomalous subgenre of math rock known as NP rock, defined primarily by a specific arrangement of instrumental configurations, subject matter, and esoteric musical technique. Evidence suggests that the accumulation of these components is the cause of SCP-952's anomalous properties. Upon listening to an SCP-952 composition, subjects will instantly identify SCP-952 as a distinctive musical genre. Furthermore, periodic listening, defined by listening to at least one composition per day, creates further anomalous effects. Following 1 week of periodic listening, subjects with musical experience learn how to recreate SCP-952 compositions. After 4 weeks of periodic listening, subjects with musical experience will find themselves unable to perform any musical piece outside of SCP-952. From week 4 onwards, subjects undergo significant changes in personality. Such changes differ between subjects, however, in all cases, it's been observed that existing romantic relationships become completely untenable. From week 12 onward, listening to any non-SCP-952 composition produces marked with distress in subjects. The earliest known instance of SCP-952 appears to have been Highway Ash, which has a footnote that says, analysis of Highway Ash suggests similarities to SCP-3004-2 Song, an album released by a band known as House of Spades in 2000. As of the 8th to 28, 2000, it is estimated that at least SCP-952 composition remain uncontained. And here we have a picture of Highway Ash. Alternate cover art of Highway Ash, a vector of SCP-952 image. A vector of SCP-952 image confirmed by Wardenas AIC to be free of cognitive hazardous triggers. Okay. Interview log number 1. Veronica Fitzroy, Agent hey, hi, ha, he, ha. How do you even what? How would you? Hey, ha, Agent Ha. Agent He. Miss Fitzroy, who played drums for House of Spades, maintained a public presence following its breakup, the only member to do so. The foundation contacted her for an interview under the guise that she could be speaking to a Pitchfork columnist. Good morning, Miss Fitzroy. Please, Margaret, call me Veronica. Miss Fitzroy was the long-dead historical occult figure whose last name I stole. 7 seconds silence. Too wordy? Huh? Izzy? Was a lyricist. Isabella served as the basis for House of Space. But nah, Veronica's good. Very well, Veronica. Apologies. Well, to start off, I actually wanted to talk about your work in House of Spades. I've been listening and I have to say, I'm impressed. It's not like anything out there, at least from the out there I've heard. Huh, thank you. Yeah, that was probably some of my best work there. Got a favorite? Self-titled Highway Ash, David Cameron fucked a dead pig. Excuse me, what? David Cameron fucked a dead... As much as I love to discuss how you came up with that, I have to say that I'm most interested in discussing the engineering work you performed on Highway Ash. Huh, nerd. Yeah, no, that was a ton of fun, but I can't really be taking all the credit for that. Jack Spade served as a lead guitarist for House of Spades, was pretty much the eyes to my hands, and vice versa. Izzy helped too, and Sarah. Sarah served as the vocalist and rhythm guitarist for House of Spades. Her suicide led to the group disbandment. That's a shame. I just now realized something. Let me just double check something real quick for you guys. Yeah, I should probably... There we go. Put that here. And... No. Let me just shrink only this. There we go. I moved the chat box in case people chat. It's not the chat's not in the smack in the middle of the goals. Sarah had her moments of useful idiocy, but it was mostly just us two. Easier that way. Even so, it's magical. I know Spades has been pigeonholed into math rock, but it truly feels like something else. Oh yeah, that was deliberate. Not even mad everyone ended up copying us. Starting a new genre of music is always fun, especially when I get to name it something stupid like NP rock. It certainly is an interesting choice of name. You don't mind if I ask you why, do you? Okay, so you know how P doesn't equal NP, correct? Brief pause. NP rock wasn't some spur of the moment bullshit. It took careful planning and consideration, especially on the part of me and Jack. You ever try making a sound that doesn't exist? You know, I'm sure everyone has at some point. Hard as fuck. Yeah, brain isn't wired to say some nonsense like cognito has is redacted. Or whatever. Means what NP rock isn't easy to define. But it's easy to verify once you hear it. Moreover, it's easy to copy. I mean, that's the whole intention anyway. I wanted to shake up a genre that's been stagnated since TTNG. Ah, well, you certainly revolutionized. It was more sabotage, I'd say. I beg your pardon? I don't know what Jack was thinking when he first floated the idea. Probably something stupid. Replans tend to be stupid, but again, I really only had one plan in mind. I wanted to turn the genre into a depressing sinkhole. With it, I wanted to take any joy Sarah ever had and crush it under my boot. There seems to be some sadistic shit happening right here. She already insulted Sarah before, but now she is clearly saying like she wanted to ruin this girl for some reason whatsoever. Agent Hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, 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 I said, hey, what's going on? That's probably how Hay feels right now. Agent Hay attempts to say something, but is interrupted by Fitzroy. Sarah only ever had two things: music and a flighty, hedonistic strip back of a girlfriend. Between cutting her fingers off and ruining math rock, well, one would land me in jail, and the other puts me up there with Mike Kinsella and Zach Hill. Sort of wished Izzy would have offed herself first, but I guess watching her become Brian Gash, the significance of the statement is unknown at this time. It's as good as a consolation prize as any. Wait, hold on. You actually want people to fucking die? Forgive me, that's an awful thing to say about someone. Moreover, I'm not certain what this has to do with Sarah's relationship. Sis, you can't be giving scores to a genre you don't get. The whole fucking genre is a testament to the inability of hipster nerds to hold down a date. Just listen to Wayne Stalinsky or Polvo or TTNG or Cognito Hassel Redacted. Or even just fucking Kinsella singing in whatever shower that stupid house probably never had. Surround yourself in misery, and that's what you get. Even better when the misery is syncopated to the beat of a soul. I apologize, but the beat of a soul feels somewhat loaded. Care to unpack what you mean? Sure, first question for me though. Do you people always play dumb? Excuse me? It's a serious question. Every soul operates on a similar frequency. The keys reaching out on what that frequency is, and right now you're blaring out a narc cycles per second. Listen, I'm not sure what you somehow know jack shit about NP rock despite listening to it. Agree with my statement about P and NP despite no public proof. Asian Haley clarified that she had no knowledge of the P versus NP problem and was agreeing out of habit. And most importantly, Pitchfork hasn't given a shit about me since they gave me my solo album a 2.6. You're either some government occult coalition G-man, in which case holy fuck you're bad at this, or you're one of Brian Gash's girls, which is fucking rich considering that killing me won't bring back Sarah, and I know because Ashley's still dead. Ma'am, are you okay? Is this what this is about? Are you just checking up on me? Huh. Well, tell Izzy she won. She fucking won after all these years. I'm a miserable hag who threw away her shot at a happy life for the sake of petty revenge. But guess what? Sarah's still dead, and Izzy will never tune a bass outside the doctor again. So how's that? A loud crashing sound can be heard, which Asian Hay proposed came from Fitzroy flinging a vase at the wall behind her. Several seconds of silence follow before Fitzroy settles back into her chair. My manifesto in my bedroom and my wills on the kitchen counter. It's been a pleasure, man. Immediately following the conclusion of the interview, Fitzroy pulled a revolver from under her cushion and shot herself through the temple. As of 2000, Miss Fitzroy will has been declassified. Well, can we just say, what the fuck just happened? What just happened? What was that all about? Like as a SCP Foundation agent, imagine that. You're just trying to like bullshit your way into an interview and pretend to like be somebody else, and then this person immediately guesses you're not aware of what the hell this conversation is all about, which makes sense because it's a cognito hazard that's caused by an SCP. It doesn't exist in real life. And then she yells things about like somebody's dead, the other person has the finger cut off, and she just shoots herself in front of me. Like, I'm surprised that Agent Hay hasn't like just tackled her and be like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Or that one of the other agents, like the bodyguard agents, were like around the corner somewhere and be like, put the weapon down! Something like that. I don't know. It seems a bit extreme, lady. The document 2. That's her. Must be her will. I, Veronica Catherine Fitzroy, being of sound body and a sound enough mind. No. definitely not, to execute my own damn will, as witnessed by Brad Cameron and the man in bandages. The identity of either witness had yet to be verified, both of whom can deal with the legal bullshit later, declared the vision of my estate as follows. To the Jack of Spades who knows who he is, and to Madame Brangash who also knows who she is, I bequeath the soul of Sarah. Have fun finding that out, you bottom-feeding parasites. Also the Jack of Spades, who, once again, knows who he is, I bequeath ownership of my share of House of Spades royalties for all associated albums and EPs except self-titled, which was hack guitar work, and you absolutely know it. Consider it thanks for helping me program the logistics of Highway Ash, knowing full well you never get your disgusting squid dick wet again. To Anna, I bequeath a copy of Confronting Drunk Driving by H. Lawrence Ross. If you're anything like your sister, I read it page to page. To the goddess of cider who holds my beloved Ashy, I bequeath my soul, knowing full well it won't make the journey. And finally, to Brad Cameron, I bequeath everything else. You truly were the best among us, and I'm sorry for booting you from engineering for the sake of a 3-year suicide. And there's I'm not sure if this leads to the same thing, or if it's like two different... Okay. Oh boy. When will you die for the last time in my dreams? Okay. Veronica Kathleen Fitzroy, drummer and co-founder of the rock band House of Spades, died on Wednesday. She was 32. She was only 32. Reports indicate that the following a call from Ms. Fitzroy into the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, a pair of officers were dispatched as part of an active rescue effort. For reasons currently unknown, Ms. Fitzroy shot an attending officer and was subsequently shot and killed by his partner. The band vocalist Sarah Mipps Yarkoni died in 2018 of apparent suicide by hanging. They survived by... By the way, Veronica just killed herself here. What is happening? Contents warning for the whole series indicates an NSFW tale likely the result of having Jack as a POV character, abuse, gore, self-image issues, suicide, both attempted and successful, homotransphobia, slurs. Oh boy. Oh boy. How long is this? This is gonna be a long read. This is the SB 910 of the 950s, but okay, we're still early. We got a lot of time, so might as well get into it. Let's see what this does. I'm gonna read these things down here first. Veronica Kathleen Fitzroy, height 6'2". Well, she's tall. She's a bit taller than me. Date of death, the 5th, 26th, 1987. Drums, trumpet, self-titled vocals. See You Soon EP with Fire. Physiologically strained. Joshua Liana Veronica Kathleen Fitzroy, who was born to a doomed mother and Joshua Liana Veronica Kathleen Fitzroy was born to a doomed mother and ill-prepared father in Staten Island on May 26, 1987. Infamous for spearheading several of the band's more notable stunts, Fitzroy's musical career began at the age of 14 when she realized that streaming got her nothing and drumming got her A's. Fitzroy first met her bandmates at her surrogate dad friend's suggestion and remained a friend right up to the point where her anger overrode her love. And now we have Isabella, which is Izzy, if I'm correct. Isabella Madoka Kawajiri, 5'3" and above. Date of death 10th, 25th, 1987. Plays bass, background vocals, self-titled Reefer Infatuation EP. David Cameron Fuck the Dead Pig. Vocals See You Soon EP with Feelings. Physiology variable. Isabella Madoka Kawajiri was born to a hyper-conformist mother in South London on October 25th, 1987. Escaping, moving with her mother to Austin, Texas in 1990. The unofficial leader of House of Spades, Kawajiri's musical career began at the age of 8 when her stepfather bought her first guitar, stopped at age 13 when her crush boyfriend smashed it apart, and was soon at 14 once she saved enough money to buy a sturdier bass. Kawajiri first met her bandmates through a couple mutual friends and remained friends right up to the point where her desire for the status overrode her sense of caution. Jack Spade. Height 7. He was not almost 8 foot tall. Motherfucker was not almost 8 foot tall. No. So that would be 60 centimeters tall. What? He almost was. There's no way he was almost 2 meters and 40 centimeters tall. There's no way. But he says 5'6". I'm not sure why there's another 7'8". Does he wear like giant stilts when he's on the stage or something? DOB. Date of birth is that, not date of death. Why did I say date of death before? It was clear as a B. Yeah, it's all B's. Why did I say he forgot? What do you mean you forgot? How does a person forget their own birthday? Lead guitar, vocals, David Cameron, Fuck the Dead Pig, See You Soon, EP, The Victim, Physiology, Physiology, there we go. Deceptive. The Jack of Spades was born to King Wales' second concert in a place where time or space didn't matter all that much. Always the odd one out, Jack's musical career began in 1956 when a psychological break forced him to realize that people loved a two-legged predator more than a many-legged parasite. Jack first met his bandmates at an audition. His lover friend attended and remained friends right up to the point where his lust for companionship overrode his empathy. So it looks like he might have been something else entirely before. That's why also his name is in quotation marks. Sarah Miriam Iaconi, 5'2", date of birth 8th 29th 18. What's wrong with me? 8th to 29th 1988. Plays rhythm guitar, Sans See You Soon EP, vocals, Sans See You Soon EP herself, Physiology, Crispy. Sarah Miriam Marconi was born to a couple of workaholics in Staten Island on August 29th, 1988, along with her level-headed twin sister Anna. Arguably, the glue that kept everything together. Marconi's musical career began at the age of 6, when she took up singing and branched into guitar at age 19 to keep herself busy, following expulsion from Yale. Marconi first met her bandmates at something she went to on impulse and remained friends right up to the point where her fear overrode her common sense. Alright, now we're going to click on these two, and there's a content warning here, guys. So if you're not comfortable with this, here it is. How about this? I'm gonna put an image up. Yeah, I guess this. This was from a long time ago. Actually, let me change the image to something else. I'm gonna change the image to something else, and as long as this image is up, that means that as long as the image is up, means that the uncomfortable topics are still happening. Here, just gonna use this. Here, little. So there. As long as this Kirby is here, that means the tape is still ongoing. If it's, I'm not sure if it's musical or if it's like text. So if you're not comfortable with all of this stuff, then just mute the stream. And once Kirby vanishes, then it's over. Or you keep track with it. Ah, it looks like it's. Okay, so it is music. So here we go. Let me just see something else. Can I go back, please? So it is music. How to not handle the worst day of your life and how to bounce back. Heartbreaks in a polynom. This is wild. I just now realized something. Posting on YouTube will be no what fuck it. It will be difficult, but music to practice safe sex too.
I try to tell you what I meant by those words that night. I didn't want to make assumptions if you didn't want to say it. I'm glad you did. You go off the radar, stop responding, leave me hanging, because you know it hurts me. I guess that I deserve it. I've broken all the promises to myself. I'm insane. This is a pattern that I never meant to start. This is a feeling that you were never meant to feel. Wish I could show you what you meant inside. Wish I could show you what you meant inside. Wish I could show you what you meant so in my own language.
Yeah, I think that's just plays music, but I think all of these are supposed to be the the SCP stuff. Ooh, that's like quite a lot of shit though. I'm not sure if I can read all of these. I mean, there's a lot. Look how many tabs are now open. God damn, boy. And I assume each one has like a different. I guess each one has like a different song that they want to connect with the story itself, but I'm just gonna say, like, I'm not sure if I got a chance to read if I want to read all this. Because that is long. That's a lot of stuff. Okay. So we read this, which is MP Rock. Now we have the D. I'm gonna start reading. Actually, can I check how long oh boy. Oh, these are like all things I probably have to read. Right. Oh, sweet Jesus. These are all so long. Oh my god. And then we have multiple sections. Oh my lord. Okay, well, I'll start reading. I'll start reading a couple of them. I'm not sure how fast I can read through these. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just get it started. D952, please step forward. Veronica Fitzroy stepped forward, wincing at the bright light. She had assumed a techno-fascist mad scientist would have worked on getting a better mugshot system, but hey, if some shadowy facet of the US government really did have the need for meat through the grinder, it was a small price to pay for escaping life in a man's prison. But it'd be over soon. She lost everything, botched a suicide, and let bandages get away with everything, but it'd be over soon. That made her happy at least. So wait, hold on. So she botched her suicide, meaning that this part, so she shot herself with a temple, but actually didn't kill her. well, lucky and unlucky for her. Even after the homophobia, drone strikes, and regressive tax laws, the US government always had one last way to fuck the world. The Foundation's best idea for an experiment was to put 20 murderers in the same room with 3 stooges who could barely operate a musical instrument. The only thing that could make it worse was if they were a Rush cover band, which in fact they were, because life was just a series of practical jokes. Perhaps as part of the experiment, or perhaps as torture, several instruments had been scattered around the room for the rest of her merry band to play. Some, inexplicably, had already begun banging out Canada's sticks without a care in the world, certainly without a care for music theory and its application. How anyone with half a... oh yeah, put my lo-fi back on, please. How half a functioning nervous system could stand... could stand for simultaneous, which was rather generous phrasing for a couple of offbeat lunatics. Rendition of 2112 was anyone's guess. With every off-key shred, NP Rock ate at the pit of her stomach in the back of her mind. Veronica was almost glad when, getting up to smack the drum in the face, one of the small cops finally dragged her out. She sees this as she sees this whole wrong from the looks of it. She could have been a professor by now, if she hadn't gotten sidetracked, teaching undergraduates basic engineering equation by day, getting high off mushrooms and fucking the music theory instructor by night. Maybe Ashie'd still be alive then. Ashie'd. Okay, her mind was wondering it did that these days. Wasn't like the problem before. Her deserved her attention. It was an shitty. That's not correct grammar, is it? It was a shitty problem, written on shitty paper. At least to Veronica, it was immediately clear that the whole process was objectively incorrect. Number 3 didn't work like how this little bucket supposed it did. And several portions were straight up nonsense. That they expected her to write an analysis of the problem as if it made sense was nearly as nonsensical, but then things rarely made much sense anymore. Veronica decided to take the inverse sign of said nonsense number and inexplicably found herself accosted by an angry grizzly bear. D7294 looked up as a tall chestnut hair, dyed blue of course, that was always boded well, especially with a dye job that horrid girl was deposited into his cell. Smiling, he deposited his book, Die Klavierspielerin, a little reward for good behavior, to the wayside as he gave the poor girl a look over. Hello, are you still 1285 or am I speaking to fresh meat? The girl had an ugly laugh, somewhere between Baba Yaga and those dead-eyed video stars he used to watch in his free days, ending in a smile that never reached her eyes. Eyes not quite dead, but not quite alright, but the disposables were rarely an alright folk. Do I look fresh to you? Fresh is relative. Frankly, you look like roadkill that hasn't died. The second car could be coming soon enough. Girls this fragile rarely lasted, especially the ones who pissed off HR hard enough to earn a cell with D7294. Yeah? 7294 swore he could spot the slightest bit of bemusement on the wretch's face. Dead on. The amusement faded quickly from the girl's face as she collapsed in a slump in the corner. Just waiting for the right thing to do me in. Fucking taking them long enough. 7294 almost felt something. A vestige from a dozen lifetimes past. Perhaps the memory drugs rarely erased the imprint memories left. Well, a dumb animal. Is that part of this, or is it something completely else? I'm not gonna add that to the list. There's only so much to read, so let's just go on with this. Let me ruin the surprise then. You don't get out. The girl barely stood at that. She probably already knew that tidbit. Nothing here just kills you, and if it does, you go to hell like everyone else. Somewhere in the diary he kept, 7294 assured himself that hell was an eternity in one's corpse. He still can't remember why. Another ugly chuckle. She couldn't certainly stand to be broken. Yeah, maybe. But let a woman dream, alright? 7294 was surprised. The most put together thing about the girl was her uniform. She may have been a head taller, sure, but the foundation had made her small. Still, such was the price of climbing a mountain of sandpaper. Dreams of her children. The foundation breaks both in time, so I suggest making them like you before they start placing you with more interesting experiments. But a moot point. I believe your next experiment will be the one that brings you down. When the girl finally looked back up, D7294 swore he could finally see something approaching humanity in her face. You think? Well, little lady, this time the girl sneered. Some people you can just tell, all in context clues of course. At one point the girl might have had left half of her head shaved, even with her hair growing back in. The bruising was rarely apparent. How she avoided a concussion was not anyone's guess. Since you don't appear to be new, that means you've gone through quite a bit of tests. Tell me, what's your name? Veronica. I meant your real name. Veronica, if you're gonna be like this, we're not gonna make for good roommates. D7294 sighed, mostly to keep an appearance. The girl's response wasn't all that unexpected. Okay then, my name is D2794. Your name used to be Veronica. What is it now? Oh, we're going with the prisoner level metaphors here? Well, my number is 952. My name remains Veronica, okay? It's a nice name, picked it out myself. And this, the flourish was instinctual, symphonic habits died hard. This is why I know that they don't like you. Whoever you used to be it some vegan mustard peddler or B-movie stunt double that ended the moment you were handed a life sentence, here, you're D952, you're lab rat, and refusing to walk the maze means they'll dissect you instead. D952 barely reacted as 7294 ampled over to her slumped form. They already put you through the tough ones, haven't they? She sneered as he loomed over her, of course. He couldn't say he liked her stubbornness, but she'd break, eventually. The girl didn't look the type to bend. Well, now they roomed you a serial femicide, barely winced at that. Probably guessed she was getting attention in the first place. Next is something a little deadly than me, a little less pleasant. You put yourself in a corner, fighting will make the corner smaller. D7294 recognized the stare at 952 was giving him, a recalcitrant glare that sought to replace both action and rhetoric in a situation where this girl had neither. These days, 7294 was rarely in the position to receive one of these. Veronica's dead and none of her friends are here to care for D942. And with that, D942 finally began to cry. Yeah, there you go. As he said, everybody breaks. We'll try to read as many of these as possible, but once I feel like, you know what, I'm going to give this an hour. I'm going to read this for an hour, and once we have the first hour done, the rest will be read offline for me. D7294 always dreaded new roommates. More often than not, they interrupted his daily routine with incessantries. Thankfully, D952 stayed quiet. Time was hard to count in the Foundation, so one went by events instead. 4 sets of stretches, 200 crunches, a piss break, a few chapters of his favorite book, and 3 lookovers of the diary, updated with every rumor and personal experience since he'd been allowed pen and paper, of course, in case they need him for something peculiar. The day wasn't Sunday, so they wouldn't be allowing him access to the cello, but it helped to do the stand and finger exercises just to keep the muscle memory there. It was only after he began unconsciously humming a tune that he even remembered he had a roommate. Hey, could you be a little quiet? D7294 couldn't help but smirk as he looked back over the disheveled mess on the bed. For all the fights she almost certainly spent with the Foundation, right now she couldn't even bear to face her roommate. Am I bothering you? Finally, D952 turned over. 7294 swore the bags on her eyes had deepened since they threw her inside, to the point where she looked less like a human, more like a pale, overgrown raccoon, someone dressed in an orange jumpsuit. Yes, you are. What a shame. 7294 continued humming as 952 turned back over in her bed. Time didn't exist in the Foundation, but breakfast did, and always came carefully, through a hatch at the bottom of the door. Eggs and turkey sausage plus a bit of fruit. Today was a coffee day for both of them, and while 7294 was glad to be getting out of the room, he almost pitied 952. Lizard Bay was probably a best case scenario here. The best case for the time's continued existence, however, was the punctuality of the Foundation. Some knew of the time after coffee day breakfast, which 7294 had begun to call coffee. Men in white coats and black armor would come and escort either him or his roommate to whatever the men in grey suits decided they could throw disposables at. A coffee was always the same amount of time, of course. At times, 7294 even swore he could count in them. Of course, 7294 was bemused to find only one post coffee transport squad at the door, and even more bemused when they ordered both of them out. He almost felt sorry that the mall cops had to drag his half-dead companion out at what he would only assume was a memorable time. D7294 had learned, of course, to stand straight and look forward whenever he was being sent to these excursions. Looking like you were cooperating was, after all, just as important as actual cooperation. Of course, he'd occasionally side-eye the containment chambers, get a glimpse of what horrors and wonders lay beyond his peripheral. Maybe look out for that demented half-cat that wandered the halls, just so he doesn't step on it and piss off some bleeding heart orderly. Yeah, the half-cat. The one that's like doesn't have a bottom, but pretends like it does. There was little reason to do much else, however, until the two of them were shoved into a large room with a beanbag chair and a box. Typical. In D7294's experience, a combination of random objects was always the worst thing they threw at you. Looking over to D7294 wasn't sure he was looking at the same person anymore. D952's posture had completely changed. Where previously she had adopted the stance of a depressed koala, D952 now stood straight, with a look of almost grim determination on her face. Moreover, she looked... There wasn't many good ways to put it, but receptive was one description. The intercoms crackled into life. D7294, please approach and open the box. Oh, fun. He gets to kill her. Opening the box didn't ring any diary bells, but it was nice not to die instantly. The inside of the box was a new, rich sort of plush, heavily padded and drenched in accordingly sweet fragments. Most of the fragments came from the tumbler of some sweet brown... Oh god, no. They expect him to drink this, didn't they? D7294, take a sip of SCP-209 and falsely describe the experience. If I remember correctly again, SCP-209... Wasn't that like something that, like, yeah, you ingested? The sadist tumbler is a giant, is a glass tumbler that, when not held by a human, contains an unknown golden brown translucent liquid. This liquid cannot be removed from the tumbler by anything except a human drinking the liquid. It's extremely addictive. It goes into an active state when one person drinks out of the tumbler, and there's at least one person who can smell the liquid, and at least one person in the area. During the active phase, the other people around the person who activated SCP-209 cannot move away or near the activator and can be manipulated physically by any description word said by the activator. Yeah. That was a long time ago, but I vaguely remember that one. Well, between this and getting fed to an overgrown peanut, it tasted good, really good. Warm like a good whiskey from back when he was a free man. If not quite as bold, smooth with just the right amount of burn on the way down. Moreover, it made him feel good, fresh as new and all of that. D7294 found himself unconsciously taking a seat in a beanbag chair. A bit cool. The entire time 952 had been standing at attention for the next command, unmoving and outwardly stoic. He'd have almost mistook her for part of the room at that point, if she hadn't shivered as soon as the words left his mouth. 7294 took another sip, lively, but fruity, and that's when she started getting antsy, fidgeting in place. He hadn't expected much from his half-dead companion, to be sure, but it was nice to finally break out of the half-rigor mortis. It was only about half a minute later that she finally moved, pacing around the room in hurried steps, nervously stealing glances between 7294 and the observation camera. 7294 considered saying something else, just to make her squirm further, but the spectacle was amusing enough as it was right now, especially as 952 suddenly clutched her stomach and fell to her knees. One thing he could say, he'd never seen someone vomit fruit puree before. He could kill her, of course. Certainly that seemed to be the point of this exercise. It'd been a while since they let him do that. Just say something, like warm as the sun, or it's nice to drink something without a skin. May she even be happy finally getting to die. That would be nice, he thought as he sipped his drink in silence. Maybe he could bend her into shape. Oh, the men in grey suits would love that. The problem child broke into a compliant doll. Every agonizing contortion recorded for posterity by the men in white coats. Perhaps one day he could perform an encore. They turned him a boogeyman, preying on the naughty. That would too be nice, he thought, as he sipped his drink in silence. Only after he finished his drink and found himself escorted back to the cell did he realize he forgot to break his silence. Why didn't you kill me? D7294 looked up from his diary, complete with a new entry for whatever he just drank, at the former vegetable in the fruit-stained jumpsuit. I beg your pardon. Okay, Bundy, let me spell this out. You're some kind of serial rapist or murderer or whatever happened to get you locked in here. Me? I'm an uppity tranny that no one will miss. You have been given the means to horribly kill me, and instead I end up vomiting smoothies for 10 minutes. What gives? Was that why her voice was so annoyingly scratchy? I could ask why you look so keen on dying. The sudden shift from carry on to rapid in D952 was off-putting to say the least. A side effect of the brandy? Look, that's not important. I've been around the fucking block, and a creep boy like you would take any fucking chance to flay the skin of my fucking arms. So what gives? So that's part of the thing we read before, like homophobia, transphobia. So yeah, now I understand. It's not the music that they added that has those themes in it. It's the stories. So again, if anybody has a problem with this, I understand, and I'm sorry that this might trigger some people. Remember though, it's fictional. It does happen in the real world, which sucks. It does suck. But right now, this is a story about a character with a transsexual and a criminal. So this will happen. Maybe I wanted to watch you suffer more. 7294 looked back to his diary and couldn't quite focus on the words. Who knows, maybe you're the one who miraculously gets me to see the light. Maybe we make love in an amateurish written sex scene, somehow escape the foundation and adopt a family of adorable puppies that fix your myriad of issues, all of which conveniently stem from your infertility. Or maybe, just maybe, I didn't feel like it. 7294 wasn't sure if he liked her better half dead or half mad, but he was sure of one thing: he didn't like her. And for God's sake, what has gotten into you? Just an hour ago you had to be scraped off your bed with a spatula. Thankfully that shut her up for a while. Lunch came eventually, fried catfish and green beans, plus a yellow rice that was probably more salt than grain at this point. One of the guards had slipped a can of cranberry juice into one of the into one of the meals, either as a joke or reward. Still, fruit juice didn't quite appeal to him at the moment. 7294 had learned to appreciate the silence during lunch. Small talk rarely amounted to much in Foundation care. It helped the 952 was a silent eater. Shame it only took half a post-meal coffee to ruin the quiet. I saw a desk. Haven't we all? Okay, asshole. I meant a room with only a desk, sandwiched between two rooms with a chair each. Is that the augments? Isn't that the... Isn't that a formal discussion that they're talking about? Might be. I'm also taking this away now. There we go. 7294 sighed, glancing through his diary, and I'm sure they have a very good reason for that. There were a few desk rumors, of course, but that meant little when the description was disparate as this. Do you mind telling me what this has to do with anything? Because 942 trailed off. Alright, it's going to sound really stupid, but the desk got a wish-granting fairy in it. 952 was right, of course. That was stupid. It was several seconds before 7294 stopped laughing. What's so good? God, wait, did they? They took away the O? I guess, okay, damn funny, huh? I guess if God is in the Foundation custody, you shouldn't probably say goddamn. You just got done making me vomit a probiotic special, but apparently fairies are too out there. The conceit wasn't quite as hilarious the second time around. I can believe that the supernatural exists. I can believe that those through some means we're able to shape the world through its usage. 7294 placed his diary to the side. What I do not believe, however, is that you share a history with a quote-unquote wish-granting fairy that inexplicably resides inside of a desk in the exact same prison you are currently trapped in. But, I mean, the girl certainly believed her delusion at least. That, or she would have taken up a career in stage. I know it's there. I've had friends who... There's a gash under it, crescent-shaped, and my friend Jack, he has a piece of it. Fucking D952 stopped in her tracks, realizing how ridiculous this whole affair was. Listen, my friend made a really bad wish with a piece of that thing. We used it to hurt people. It's all still out there. Then I used it for legalese and I used it for legalese, and D952 shared it again. I don't know how much about this or how I can put this into words, but I need to get that desk so I can 952 stepped back down on her bed. GD, I hate to even say this, but I have no illusions you don't believe anything I just said. Still, do you think you could, I don't know, help me? Help her. Of course she needed his help. He was a flighty moron, unable to do anything on her own, who crumpled like a wet tissue at the first sign of resistance, and yet even still she apparently felt the need to lash out on anything that struck her fancy. Hell, he should have killed her back there, where he had the chance where she actually be useful for something. She was barely more than a featherless pipit with a mood disorder. Of course she needed someone to crush her back into place. Alright, maybe I will. D7952 stood up under one condition. Does it involve weird sex? That's not necessarily a no to weird sex, it's just... 7294 tried sighing hard enough to interrupt 952, but it came out more as a frustrated grunt. Shut up. Just shut up for once. God, what is wrong with you? 952 mumbled something that wasn't quite loud enough for 7294 to hear, but that assumed he cared in the first place. I can help you survive long enough, if that's what you're asking. Maybe I could even help to obtain a assignment to this wish-granting desk, but 7294 stepped over to one more loom over 952. This time, she didn't sneer, and he has somehow found that worse. You will be completely obedient to me. If I'm casted by some thug doing exercise or recreation, you are to draw attention from me. If I'm in need of extra energy, you are to give me some of your food, but most importantly, just shut the fuck up when we're alone. D952 silently nodded. The sudden stillness was unnerving, but if the alternative was everything else with this girl, he could gladly take it. Finally sitting down, 7294 returned to his diary. I'll give advice tomorrow. If you can't buy in with a portion of your dinner, don't worry, they expect you to die today, so there's no chance to stick you anywhere else. Dinner was 6 slices of over-seasoned turkey and mashed yams. Hello, my name is Seek Dawn, but you go by D7294. Oh, it's this, his diary, so okay, hello, your name is Seek Dawn, but you go by D7294. This isn't your first time reading this, but it might as well be. Like you had your memories erased. Let's get a few things out of this way. The supernatural exists. Yes, quite a shock. You had your memory wiped. Fairies are real. There's a monster under your bed, and Olgo is likely a reptilian. However, physical laws exist alongside them, and they are the one thing that these demons cannot kill. Every ghost, monster, or artifact that exists operates under a set of rules, each entirely unique to one another. This means that for every terror that longs to tear your legs off, there's an entire field of study dedicated to the combating said terror. Some method may be esoteric, while others may be reminiscent of the stories you heard growing up. The fact remains, however, that through a certain set of behaviors you can ensure with near 100% guarantee that you will not die. Knowledge is power. Therefore, record every rumor you can, underlining every truth and striking through every falsehood. Veronica, we're halfway through this, and the 1 hour I promised myself to read through is over in a half an hour. I don't think I can read all this and the SCPs at the same time. So I probably will read this in peace. After this one, I probably will read the rest by myself. Veronica assumed this one was meant to kill her, but unless a sheaf of paper from some reject arts collection had the ability to tear her chocolate out, she should be fine. D952, please observe the document. Well, it appeared to be the character study of Oh Fuck No. Is that... this one, yeah, that's much later. Veronica may have been stupid enough to associate with Jack and by extension the man in bandages, but 7294's pictographs were pretty fucking clear on what not to do here. Please describe the content of the document. Veronica spoke in visual metaphors as she thought of nothing. Much to his surprise, D952 was shoved back into the shed room with nary a scratch. 7294 looked up from his copy of Les Miserables just in time for the door to slam shut. I'm surprised you somehow survived. What did they throw at you? 952 began wiggling like an eel before putting her finger into her lip and shaking her head. That explains quite a bit, but not about what they put you up against. For God's sake, can't you be normal? Well, excuse me for being thrown in a room with a 952 trail off. It's why you know watch Eurovision. Who says I don't? It's a cognito hazard, right? The thing you can't know about. Ah, fuck it. The springs in 952's mattress. But it's now. Yeah, I know. I just watch it later. Fuck it. The springs in 952's mattress creaked as she half-assedly tossed herself into bed, but it didn't exactly allow them to oil the damn things, did they? GD, I feel like I'm living Kafka's nightmare sometimes. Learn to get used to it. Are you that shocked? I never watch Eurovision live because I'm usually doing something else. I usually watch it with friends anyway, so. You're working for the foundation, not on your own free will, of course, but that hardly matters. Perhaps one day they might release you. For now, you're a glorified lab rat. Your job is to provide information on what happens when what interacts with what, with a focus on the what, Jesus, why and how. Sometimes it'll be as simple as playing record. Other times you might be forced to clean feces off the feet of a statue. It's important to keep your wits about you, lest your skeleton is snapped into a pretzel. Of course, because you're expected to provide information, you cannot treat too carefully. If you cannot provide your captures with the information they require, then you are unfit for testing. If you're unfit for testing, they kill you. Be careful, but play the game. If things move too slow, improvise. Okay. The E952's jumpsuit looked a little burned, as did her skin. Nevertheless, the foundation had failed to kill her today, which was nice, if only because D7294 could get more information out of the manic depressive than he could a corpse. D7294 readied his pen. What did they throw at you today? Okay, for the slave of a slave, especially one covered in chemical burns, 952 looked lighter than 7294 had ever seen her. So there's this dog, alright, and it eats things, but it eats by corroding them. Interesting. Corrosive dog tested on troublemakers. Tell me, why am I still speaking to you? Excuse me? That was barely worth the effort. You have survived the effort of a corrosive canine. I'm asking you how you're still standing. I just tried teaching it some tricks, fed parts of my suit when needed. I think it knows how to sit now. 952 paused. You know, I'm not sure how I'm still alive. Interesting. Supernaturally lucky airhead testing on me. For someone who wanted to die so badly, you're awfully bad at dying. D952 shrugged. I have hope now. Can't waste it. 3. You're surrounded by humans. Humans do not make decisions through reason. Man is an entirely emotional being driven only by impulse and feeling. If the truth does not feel truthful, humans will see it as a falsehood. There are no exceptions to this rule. It's extremely easy to trust someone that you like, even if it should be clear that that's what they're saying isn't true. After all, no one wants to admit that they wasted time and energy on someone they could not trust. Popular truth is thus define the path of least resistance. Therefore, make yourself likable. So, how have you been? The researcher overseeing her looked up from her paperwork into the containment chamber, and more specific as Veronica, I beg your pardon. You know, what's like working here? I was always more. Fuck! Veronica dropped the tongs, and with it the live mouse it's been holding, and the centipede was suddenly crawled up. Sorry, one of them started climbing up, and I just pick it up right now after the box finished eating. I used to care for lizards. I don't know if they ever ate this much. I believe most of the energy goes into the legs. I wouldn't know. I studied marine biology. Well, at least it wasn't a reprimand. That's pretty tight. Don't know why they have you on the centipede duty. I had thought that they put you on shock-off duty or something. I don't think shock-offs exist. Oh, do I have some story for you, Miss Paternoster? What the fuck? The name is that? Paternoster? Okay. D-Class Performance Evaluation Form, Ariel Isabel Paternoster. Object observed SB363. Hey God, yeah. Personal reviewed D952. Date 19/7/2020. Between midnight and 2:35. Performance synopsis: D952 was instructed feat SCP-393 as specified, to which he complied. Wait, hold on. I made a mistake. That's not God. That ain't God. 363 is. Not centipedes, that's what it was. It's a centipede that grows to a giant size when in darkness and feeds on body heat. Yeah, that's what it was. Me dumb. That's the wrong number for God. I believe God is 303, right? No, that's the doorman. Fuck, where's God? God? 343. Ugh. That's where he is. As specified to which she complied. Afterwards, D952 talked at length about a variety of subjects, including adopted. These claims are currently being investigated. Compliance displayed A. Competence displayed A-. Do you recommend termination? No. Above all else, trust no one. Okay, I'm going to delete all these stuff because these are things I'm going to read in my own time. Because it's going to take way too long. D2677 first saw D952 at one of 7294's weekly Shadow of Silas turning pages for him. That's what 2677 told her. At least she's pretty sure she's pretty sure she'd seen him watching her before. After a bit of searching, he saw her again in the yard. They had a great time, of course. They talked and talked and talked at length. She told him her life story, her childhood in Chicago, how to tune a string instrument, all that stuff. He told her about his time behind bars, what he did to amuse himself, hell, even a bit on how to craft, use, and hide a shiv. Still, she left in a hurry. One day someone slipped him a picture, and when he tried to compliment it, he suddenly wasn't there. Days turned into weeks. They stopped trying to kill her, fucking finally. At the very least, D952, Veronica rarely felt endangered. Oh, is that 7294 getting more and more having a bond with her? Veronica rarely felt endangered. Mostly nowadays, she got stuck with sanitation. Sure, she occasionally had to clean an ogre's room or transport a glass case full of tar and masks, but she was a big girl and knew her way around this kind of block. Hell, sometimes they stuck her with odd folk like the dude with the weird teddy bear or some woman with a Bane mask. Woman with a basement. I'm not sure if we met that one yet. Sure, she wasn't allowed to talk much, but the sights were better than plain concrete. Plus, you always felt a little safer with her shiv. Too bad they rarely lasted longer than a month. They hit her with a few drugs every now and then. Not enough to dump her down, but enough to make her forget some of the important shit she's seen. But that's what 7294's journal was for. Plus, the desk wasn't on record anyway, so they didn't know to block that little bit out. She almost felt like she was getting used to D7294's music. Sure, it was revoltingly dissonant and depressive, but then so was Highway Ash. Besides, he was helping her to get to the desk. Weeks turned into a month. D952 wasn't a happy woman. Of course, she was happier than before, or felt like it at least. She had to be happier, right? Not being able to do things besides exercise and sleep, requesting literature was given to 7294, combined with long hours testing and regulated curfew meant D952 Veronica didn't do much but get into shape and maintain a good sleep cycle. Hell, she already lost a bit of weight. Veronica D952 was forced to admit, however, that the experiments were getting quite a bit weirder. Checking the circuitry of weird floodlights, finding a way to prepare a giant dopey-faced fish for eating, making tea from a statue's roots. They didn't kill her, though, and that's all that mattered. Hadn't taken her to the desk yet. Sure, but well, she wasn't sure exactly what she wasn't sure exactly what she'd do there anyways. Months turned into years. Veronica D952 was good to those around her, and they were good to her too, but maybe not everyone. But they stopped being around her soon enough. Well, maybe not herself. She'd grown wiry over time, a result of something. Whatever she ate, what she needed to, and didn't what she didn't. Her eyes too, bit dead, of course, but she didn't know any other trans chick who had lively eyes. Sort of a rare thing for whatever. She rarely had to worry these days. Maybe they'd force her to eat a cookie cake or drink bland chicken soup from a hateful bowl that shamed her life choices, or play children's playground game, normal stuff you expect from something whose existence isn't recording outside the deep web. But she did her job and she did it well. After all, she had to go on, for something was wrong here. But she'd been wrong her whole life. Please, 7294, take a seat. Supervisor Jared Green was a kindly-looking man, at least for a slave driver, but 9 years in the Foundation, you get used to things you never thought you'd get used to. Charming office. The office was trashy, filled with gothic plastic motivational posters and knickknacks, but it was better than a cell. Pardon me asking, but is this a special occasion? Say, release? Termination? Oh, Supervisor Green had an annoying chuckle. No, nothing so dramatic. Nah, this is just formality. Your roommate, D952, is... Well, has she told you yet? Something about a 231, which I believe 231 is special personnel requirement. That one is a group of 7 young girls. Yeah. Yeah. Fucking yeah. 7294 was surprised. Given everything, he thought she'd kill herself at the first mention of transfer. If you didn't know that, we're going to have to perform an impromptu amnestization session after the day, but yes, essentially, over the past 2 years, D952 has shown remarkable competence and loyalty with an active drive for discovery and perfectionism. He has also, on a few occasions, aided the Foundation outside of standard experiments, primarily in the form of advice and a colorful background in both engineering and art. She is, without doubt, a model D-class. All thanks to himself, of course. Shame her dream was dead, but it's been dead from the start. However, due to the sensitive nature of her assignment, I'm afraid there's still a bit of procedure the Foundation has to run through. 7294 had to suppress a chocolate as Green cut himself on a sheet of paper. Now then, first, how long have you two shared your cell? 2 years plus change. Surprised we made it this far. Well, her. 7294 hadn't survived 9 years of service for dumb luck. Interesting. And how did she act when you first met her? Supervisor Green looked down to his paper sheaf. Only one of the corners was stained with a drop of his own folly. If I'm to understand, her transfer was... Never mind. He quickly moved to the top of paper to the back, but not quick enough for 7294 to miss the ethics committee stamp. Either way, I'm led to believe she hasn't always been... cooperative? Not at all. Well... There was no reason for Green to take off his glasses when he looked back to 7294, probably just wanted to look cool. What do you believe was the turning point, so to speak? D7294 had expected not to remember the details, of course. However, the heavy sense of frustration flavored with disappointment came as a bit of a surprise. The imprint memories left was rarely erased. I believe we had just come back from an experiment. We had an argument over something unimportant. A lie, but one he couldn't debunk himself. 7294 found he couldn't quite look Green in the eye. And she told me that, but there's the tides of memory flow in. She had seen a desk that she claimed that some wish-granting pixie inhabited it. These days, 7294 rarely had the time to look at posters. The tacky Garfield one always brought back memories of teaching kids music back in his free days. He never got how the big orange feline captured the hearts of teachers everywhere, but by golly did he wore his way into his trash heap of unpopular pop culture. Turning back to Supervisor Green, D7294 came face to face with the face of a man who might as well have just called his boss, his secretary, and his dog screwing his wife. What a description! The dog too! A big... From A. Harper to at ScriptNet site director Anderson Harper. Classification level XK4 employee number 1285. To Y. Coney ScriptNet send new researcher Jessica interrogation fruitless 25th 9th 2022. I'm not wasting meme ticks of a former blah 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 that subject who somehow isn't. Bomb call sit down with 7 is that the SCP or yeah, it's the SCP. 738 is Devil's Deal. Yeah. Yes, I remember this. So okay, so the one she saw is not a formal discussion. It's the Devil's Deal desk that she saw. Sit down with 738. 10 minutes to explain herself. Blow her head off the moment she says anything she shouldn't. Let's see if it jogs her memory. D952 was folded into a chair wearing a cumbersome collar. The last time that happened was 6 years ago, and the collar wasn't beeping, and the machine wasn't assembling a desk. Veronica. D952 felt she should have been happy, but this didn't feel like a happy moment. It was a very nice. Okay, we're reaching the end of this. Good. I see. Let me see something. Does it go in order? It does go in order. So for me afterwards, I can then just click down here, which is nice. It was very nice desk, to be sure. Mahogany, lined with velvet, with a fancy but oppressive atmosphere to the whole thing. Not exactly helped by the throne currently being lined up with everything else. If D952 had to guess, the setup was pilfered from some rich asshole CEO's private estate, probably replaced by something equally ostentatious. And very suddenly the throne was occupied by a beautiful woman in an overcoat. Wait, Yakoni, how are you? How long has it been? 8 years since I'm back in the saddle? How's Kat's doing? The intercom buzzed. Irrelevant, D952, do you recognize? Is it really gonna be like that again? You may not have put a moral on the seat, but I know the side when I see it. Shame she's an ugly sack of shit, but I ain't no judge, just the lawyer. D952, do you recognize the figure beforehand? D952 blinked and shook her head. Of course you don't, clear. Of course you don't, dear. I'm wearing the skin of your dead wife. For the first time this began, the figure made eye contact with leaving. Veronica, D952 unseasonably warm. Now I know you got business with me. Come on, 05 promotion. Immune to SCP-3211? Or what about right now, knowledge on this? The woman grinned, leaving D952 even warmer. How long has it been, Joshua? Good trick with the will. Shame it will cost you. Coney, tell you what. Suddenly, D952 wasn't staring at the woman, she was staring at a man wrapped head to toe in bandages. As the warmth was done to horrid chill, the imprint of memory was rarely erased. I'll spill the beans, one price. You change. I'll spill beans, one price. You change his documentation to my specification. Very suddenly, D952, Joshua, Veronica, Catherine Fitz will remember why she wanted to see this desk so badly. Bandages had resumed talking with Yakoni, but whatever he said, it was vile and cowardly, and if she listened to it any longer, she'd lose her chance or die. Veronica opened the desk drawer and searched. Veronica thought back to everything, every single damn thing that kept her from being normal, well, just a person. How her heart screamed for Veronica to flint Joshua from her skin in every waking moment, and inadequacy abated by nothing. How those around her tried to weaponize her inadequacy, her fall out of spite, knocked her heart out of disgust. How even those she loved never quite saw her normal, intact woman, and how every performative wound made in honor of them stung yet. Had she never seen Ashley or Brad, or fucked Jack or Izzy or Sarah again. How forgiveness remained forever out of her reach as she almost suddenly died buried in a brightly lit tomb of dirt, concrete and steel. Mediocre schlock and a monument to her own failure. The only thing for the world to remember her by. And in the span of a second, all that disappeared as Veronica took a leather opener of the desk and buried it right into the bandaged man's smug fucking eye. Okay. As I said, I'm not gonna read everything else because this alone took forever. I will read it definitely on my own time though. It does seem that this SCP will definitely have an influence of how good it is the further I would read into the extra stuff. But yeah, I just didn't want to have the same deal as before, where like, because we still have 7 more SCPs to read, and I didn't want to like spend majority reading like one and then like I couldn't read the rest of them. So, polymorphic humanoid. Yeah, humanoid that transforms, man. Transforms into whatever it wants, ever it can. Keto, not a fucking second keto in a row. Okay, SCP-953 is to be kept in a Type 4 containment cell, 4x3x3 meters at the end of hallway 99 at Site 17. Subjects to be provided the following: 1.5k of fresh liver daily for consumption, clean drinking water in plentiful quantities, clean bedding, futons and blankets to be exchanged by the subject and laundered weekly. By the way, let me get my monster. Monster energy. Cheers. Oh yeah. Small luxury items, plum wine, reading materials, etc. may be provided as an occasional reward for good behavior as part of psychological conditioning. Direct human contact with SCP-953 is strictly forbidden due to SCP-953's mind-altering properties. For this reason, all personnel must repeat a 100-meter safe zone when the hermetically sealed door is opened. Delivery of food and other items will be carried out by automated robotic assistant. Should containment fail, SCP-953 can be theoretically terminated by gunfire. However, due to its nature, recognizing SCP-953 may be difficult. Because of the inadequacy of purely physical containment procedures to control SCP-953, psychological containment is also necessary. For this reason, the approach to SCP-953's containment chamber is to be lined with open cage dog kennels, preferably of the Korean, Jindu or American Foxhound breed. SCP-953 displays an extreme phobia of domesticated canines and will not pass within 10 meters of one, especially when canines are barking or alerted. SCP-953 is to be considered hostile to human life, dangerous and armed at all times. Any transport must be done under the supervision of at least 6 armed personnel. Its preferred killing method is a bare-handed strike to the abdomen, penetrating the abdominal cavity and removing the liver. Woo! Fucking Mortal Kombat right here, which it will later consume. If given time, however, it will choose to linger over its kill, torturing its victims, as it might seem to enjoy the infliction of pain upon another sentient being. This sounds very much like The Thing, John Carpenter's Thing, because like, I mean, John Carpenter's The Thing wasn't afraid of dogs, but dogs definitely reacted to it. SCP-953 is a female red fox, Vulpes, approximately 8 kg in weight, with a spine that splits around the 26th vertebra into 9 separate tails. Subject displays polymorphic, I assume this just leads me to Wikipedia. Oh, no, never mind. Properties, however, all allowing it to take the form of various other objects and being most commonly an attractive Korean female. Unlike SCP-1540, SCP-953 appears to retain some control over its polymorphic capabilities. Subject will display some vulpine aspect, ear, tails, paws, eyes, fur, voice, mannerism in all of its alternate forms. This can serve to identify the subject should it attempt disguise, although SCP-953 will attempt to conceal its tails through clothing and other methods. Every theory stream, I guess. In addition to polymorphic abilities, SCP-953 displays moderate level psionic abilities, namely suggestion and telepathy. Although insufficient to fool on an outside observer, an entrance subject can be convinced of a variety of false facts, including the nature of SCP-953, its own nature, and the nature of things around it. SCP-953 has used this in past to, among other things, deceive police officers investigating reports of loud screams from a hotel room, convince a mother to roast and eat her own child, carry out acts of necrophilia upon Asian Ramsey fiancé in full view of said agent, and succeed the systematic murder of 27 attendees of YIFCON 2000. This fox be wild. What does the fox say? Apparently murder and anything else immoral. Addendum 1. Prior history. SCP-953 has been encountered by the SCP Foundation. Shit. I just now realized the stream's over. No! My favorite girl's stream is over. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to live out like this? excuse me. Oh. SCP-953 has been encountered by the SCP Foundation and its predecessor numerous times, with the first encounter having taken place in Busan, Korea, shortly after the Second World War. Isn't there a Asian, I'm not sure if it's Japanese, Korean, or Chinese myth about a fox that can transform into any, like it can polymorph into a human, transform into a human being? I think there is like a legend or a myth like that. To date, SCP-953 has escaped and has been recovered 6 times, resulting to the deaths of SCP agents during various incidents. After its latest escape, SCP-953 was not heard from over years, until suddenly resurfacing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on June 2000 at YIFCon 2000, which had been attending in the guise of a furry enthusiast. Before being captured, SCP-953 carried out over 24 murders of convention staff and attendees, more than during any other single incident to date. The mutilated bodies were found in various places throughout the hotel, including inside a mattress hanging from a shower curtain and served as the main course at a hotel banquet. Surviving attendees were administered Class A amnesiacs and released from Foundation custody. This fox fucking vicious. It's sadistically vicious. God damn. Foundation personnel assigned to capture SCP-953 after this latest incident noted that the subject appeared listless and apathetic and did not resist capture. No further casualties have resulted from SCP-953 from that date. Addendum 2, Special Emergency Order. Identification of a species tends to violently agitate SCP-953. All personnel are to be hereby ordered to refer to her as a kumiho and not a kitsune. Yeah, of course not, she's not a kitsune. Personnel asking what the difference is are to be reminded of the difference between a Cherokee Indian and New Delhi Indian. 05. Addendum 3, Personnel Staffing Revision. Following the unfortunate and completely preventable death of Agent Gallagher, any personnel found to have current or prior ties to the furry or otaku communities are to be immediately reassigned to other projects. 05. Agent Gallagher, what have you done? You put us in a bad light, you bastard. You horny bastard! Addendum 4, Folkloric Control Procedures. As a reminder, staff assigned to SCP-953 are to follow all instructions for interacting with the subject, no matter how odd or arbitrary they may seem. Keep in mind that the people of Asia interacted with these beings for centuries before we came into the scene, or we think of it as fairy tales with their versions of special containment procedures. 05. And here we have an interview. Interview with a capture team following initial capture of SCP-953 in the wild in 19... How long? Well, it's not as long as the other thing, so... Interviewed, Agent... henceforth referred to as Agent, addendum as per the Wilkes Booth Alpha Protocol, all informed on 05. Prior identity has been removed. Interviewer, Assistant Director, henceforth referred to as Interviewer. This interview took place on 2 days after the capture of SCP-953 on SCP-953 Appendix 953-5. Prior incident casualties resulting from Agent was the only survivor of the incident during what he accomplished the task of capturing SCP-953 alive. The following is a transcript of the after-action debriefing that took place following SCP-953's securement. Addendum. This transfer was digitized on the Foundation Modernization Directive. Confirmation of file integrity confirmed by the tech operator. Some formatting, terminology, and compatibility discrepancies with modern interview logs may exist due to the restructuring of where possible current equivalents have been appended. Alright, let's begin. Please state your name, rank, and registry number for the record. Agent 5th Squad, Eastern Division. Note: following restructuring of this unit was redesignated Mobile Containment Task Force Theta 3 Sildager. Thanks. Can you tell me what you remember about the events on and around? Alright, where do you want me to start? How about the beginning? Where were you when you got your orders? They were expunged. Thank you for clearing that up. Can you tell me what happened when you arrived on the site? Yeah, no problem. We got inside and went to the morgue, took a look at the bodies. I used the cover story of the reporter investigating the crimes told Told him Agent 1 and Agent 2 were my photographer and assistant. Turns out they were thinking that it was a wild animal based on the nature of the wounds and eyewitnesses' accounts. There was an eyewitness. Yeah, a little old lady. Went out in the rice field to take a piss and started eating her cow. She was more mad than scared, actually. Kept complaining about where she was going to get another cow in this day and age, with the times being tough as they were. She got a good look at it though, and described it as a expunged. Looking back, I think that's where the problem started. Can you explain? Remember how Agent 1 and Agent 2 were both but I was yeah. The thing is, both our cultures have stories of these kinds of monsters in it, but it's different in folklore. The stories tend to romanticize. You get stories of monsters falling in love with humans and things a lot. Hell, they even joked about trying to score a wife out of this. Not in the stories my grandma told though. That sadistic old bitch loves scaring me, and she expunged. They're corrupted. We saw this girl sitting under a waterfall, combing out her hair, not naked. She had this thin robe on. Beautiful girl too, but we knew it had to be her because of her feet. She was trying to hide them, but she wasn't doing it right. Agent 1 and 2 smiled. Even I thought that we had an edge on her. Oh god, we were stupid. Please, explain. How were you stupid? What kind of dumbass were you when you saw this girl? She knew we were after her. She knew we knew what she was. She was, it's like a spider. She was pulling us into a web. Pretending to let our guard down just enough that we could feel smug in our overconfidence. I should have tried something. I should have done something. Do you need a moment? No, I'll go on. She told us that she had a college nearby, offered to serve us dinner, introduced us to the others. Why, oh god, why did I agree? Agent 1 and Agent 2 thought we should go with her, said there was a chance there might be others. She was lying. She knew there was no one else. But she knew that we never pass up the chance to capture multiple out of place artifacts. This designation was replaced with SCP in the restructuring. She took us to this college, pretty little place. She, old and rustic, but really homey. Took us inside, served us dinner. She was a perfect, what did Agent 1 call it? A perfect wife. Demure, kind, sweet, respectful, served us. I remember it was rice and pickling turnips and some kind of meat. I thought it was pork or beef. It was delicious though. Went to bed feeling sleepy and tired. Woke up and saw Agent 1 wasn't there. Figured he'd gone to take a piss or something, so I decided to go on for one for myself. Went behind a bush and saw, well, he was there with Agent 1 and there were... please go on. Do you mind if I say this part of the record? It's not very... as you wish. Thank you. What do you see after that? She bit it off. Please elaborate. What do you mean elaborate? Sir, she just bit it off, all of it, and then she spits it out and showed it to him, just so that he could see it happening. Agent 1 he couldn't believe it at first, and he was trying to scream, but she torn his throat out with her teeth. Then she made her hand like this and stabbed it into her belly. Agent 1 was gurgling and trying to push her off. He was bleeding all over the place, but she just pushed him into the ground and started working her fingers into his belly, reached in deep and pulled something. It must have been his liver. It was the right shape and color. Just pulled it out, like she was gutting out a fish and swallowed it whole. Swallowed it whole. Like a snake, she just one gulp like that. Then she started peeling his skin off like an orange or something. I didn't stop to watch. I ran back to the room, shook Agent 2 awake, told him we need to get going, grab your gun. He didn't. I went for our weapons, grabbed my my 45, and then Agent 1 walked in asking what was wrong, so I shot him. You shot him? I saw him die. He was dead. She killed him. It had to be her. Are you sure? Perhaps you were mistaken. She tore his guts out and ate them. He was dead, and his eyes were glowing yellow. What the hell kind of human being has glowing yellow eyes? I see. Please proceed. Agent 2 grabbed his gun then and pointed at me, started yelling at me to put the gun down. I was yelling at him to look at her, but he was screaming that he was going to shoot me in the head because I was a dirty He always knew I was one, and now I just prove it.
They're expunged.
And that's when the bitch grabbed him from behind and the gun went off. This when you were injured? Yeah. He shot me in the arm, fleshy part, upper shoulder. I fell down screaming, God, it hurts so bad. Taylor expunged. Loud cackling laugh. Oh God, if I thought my grandma was scary, this bitch, she was. If the devil were a lady, that's what he sounded like. Redacted. Ran for it, crawled into a living room where we had dinner earlier that night, and tried to slam the door shut. Rice paper screen not going to help, but I needed something between us. Redacted. Killed him and laid him out where the dining table had been. His eyes were wide open, his skin was flayed open like a butcher's. Oh God, there was the house, the ones we've been eating out of. The bowls, not the house. But the meat, it wasn't beef or pork, it was him. And the rice maggots growing in his flesh. Yeah, it had to been there for days, but now we'd seen him at the base of the mountain just yesterday. I threw up. Some of them were still alive, crawling in my vomit, and I just... Do you need a break? No, I can do this. I was deep in the fairy tale. I just needed to complete it. I didn't have any sponge. Get it corrupted. Wasn't much of the punchy stick, but it got her straight through the gut, slowed her down a bit. Get it corrupted. Dragging myself across the river, couldn't swim. Hit my head on the rock, went downstream at least half a mile through the rapids. She didn't even try to follow me down. We must have gone around because later... They were corrupted. It will be creepy if he says all this and then the interviewer, like the one asking the question, is actually the fucking fox. That would be creepy as hell. The corrupted had to fire. The third was always fire. I got to the van about the time the sun came up. Broke a window and went into the back. There was a flamethrower, defoliant projector there for sterilization if needed. So I grabbed it, flicked on the spark, and managed to get it around just as she came out of the tree line. Yeah, the corrupted. That is wow, that's so intense. It's so creepy. Cause like before you think she's like this beautiful woman, but now she morphs herself into the friend, and then you find out that she fed you a human being, and she chased you down all the way down the fucking mountain, and her eyes glow yellow, and then you just imagine the most fucked up sounds coming out of her mouth. Like it's because foxes already make weird sounds, so I imagine that, but much more monstrous. And that was when the retrieval team found you with the O-Pod. Yeah, they took her away and got me to the hospital. I had a raging infection for days, not surprising I guess. One last thing, you've been on the record on opposing the O-Pod's termination. Given your personal experiences, I'm not really sure why you want something as dangerous as this to live. Can you elaborate? They were expunged. I'm not sure I understand. Are you saying that you sympathize with her? Sympathize? I don't know. No, I can't say that. I can't say I do. She'd kill me just as soon as I look at me. Just out of spite. Because she is spiteful. She'd kill me just to watch me die. But what she's trying to do, if she does it, then she... Redacted. You're also on record as opposing her terms of confinement. Because it's dangerous. Like I said, she's spiteful. Every little slight in her eyes she saves up, and the only way she knows how to repay an insult is death. Chaining her to the wall like an animal. When she gets out, and she will get out, she's going to kill everyone who had the slightest thing to do with it. She won't settle for anything else. You also have paid her several visits in the holding cell. Yes, I have. What do you talk about? Agent, you had a harrowing traumatic experience based around this individual. In order to survive, you had to, in your own words, get into her head, realize how she ticks. One might even say there was some times you spent as a captive during the hunt in the woods. I don't know what you're getting at. Have you ever heard of Stockholm Syndrome? Yes? Is it possible that... No. No? No, just no. Thank you very much for your time, Agent. It's possible that you're potentially in love with this thing that tried to kill you and fed you humans and killed your other friends. Come on. Be honest. You just want to bang her, don't you? Put Adam and Eve from Near the Mother here when they... well, actually it was Adam, right? Who told 9S, like, you just want to fuck to be... He was like, no, I don't. Agent is to be transferred to Site 51 for psychological analysis, and debriefing the OPA in question is to be remanded to secure confinement protocols as indicated in document 953 Aleph. On a side note, I'm appalled by the level of superstition expressed by Agent throughout the course of this interview. I'm recommending that his suggestions regarding containment be disregarded for a more scientific approach. We're not old Korean fishwives here. I'm sure we can think of something more effective than dogs and needles. Assistant Director. Addendum: as of SB953 had made 3 escape attempts, each time resulting in the deaths of those operators most closely involved in her confinement. Agent was approved to return to active duty on and continue to serve with the restructured Mobile Task Force Theta 3. Hey, he warned you. He gave you a fair warning. He was like, yeah, don't. Because once he gets out, shit's about to get dark. That was a really dope one. I really like reading that one. Vocalizing frogs. Frogs that can fucking speak when they do the little... But instead of... It's... How you doing? Hey. Down here. Something like that. Oh, look at him. Look at it. Look at it. Look at the frog. Safe. Safe. Euclid. Instances of SCP-954 has to be contained in Biohabitat 27 at site. Biohabitat 27 is to be covered in a soundproof material on the interior and exterior to prevent sound leakage from the containment chamber. Testing with SB954 requires a level 2 clearance with an experiment procedure delivered to the director of study for SB954. Currently, Dr. SB954 is a species of frog similar to Iliothérodactylus chrysignathroids campi, also known as the Rio Grande chirping frog. God, what a fucking Latin name that is. I need to check something real quick because I want to check if oh, she's gonna play some more. That's cool. Damn, girl. She's gonna play some more. I'm gonna see her more of her. Okay, unlike that, however, in SB954 vocalization are not within human hearing range. The anomalous properties of SB954 are observed when it vocalizes in the presence of other organisms. SB954 vocalization causes slight hallucinations in human subjects by stimulating the temporoperipheral junction region of the brain. It is hypothesized that this is an accidental byproduct of the method of prey capture of SCP-954. It is also believed that vibrations caused by SCP-954 vocalization are the cause of this effect in humans. This effect upon this region causes the phenomenon known as the shadow people. The shadow people, oh god, not the shadow people. You don't want the shadow people coming around. The shadow people effect is commonly described as seeing shadow figure in the periphery of vision, which moves quickly when focused upon our visual range. This is the second SCP that has something of shadow, like something in the peripheral vision that like moves away once like you look at it. This phenomenon is hypothesized to be what causes most ghost sightings that can't be attributed to confirmed sources of all other SCP objects. SCP-954 effect has been observed to be used in order to disorient various insects, usually causing their movement to become erratic. It is known precisely how this affects insects, as they lack the complex brain structures of humans. Whoa. I'm so sorry. In rare cases, humans, when affected, most flying insects fall to the ground, and land-based insects generally stop movements. In rare cases, they respond. Several hypotheses have been put forth to explain this, the most plausible of which is that the vocalization interrupts the motor proteins around the major methods of locomotion in insects. It is unknown how SCP-954 developed this trait. However, SCP-954 has been found over most of North America and parts of Europe and Asia. As such, there should be a variance of the development of the species, but redacted. SCP-954 is not believed to be responsible for any deaths. However, at this time, most subjects report a feeling of disorientation after being exposed to the effect, which usually lasts for less than 2 hours. On SCP-954's vocalization were observed to be audible in the human perception range. This effect was observed by Dr. during routine feeding of SCP-954. During this occurrence, Dr. reported feeling extremely uncomfortable, and later reported a headache. During this period of vocalization, several specimens of SB954 expired due to rupture of the vocal apparatus. When Dr. reported to the medical department for standard workups after the test, it was found that this temporopotassial junction had swollen large enough to potentially cause damage to the surrounding tissue. Testing of SB954 is to be suspended immediately, and all instances of SB954 reported in the wild are to be collected immediately by MTF Omega 87 Frogwatch. Refer to a document SB954-C/R01 for specific instruction on the team loadout and procedures. Note from Dr. I don't believe SB954 is a danger at this point. Like all predatory creatures, it is attempting to adapt to the environment. Unlike most predatory animals, however, SB954 seems to adapt much faster, either intergenerational or within first generation. This is remarkably interesting and warrants further study. However, until containment and testing procedure can be updated, all testing is to be ceased until we can assess the danger first. Feeding shall continue using Class D for now. I'm gonna make you see shit. You best be ready, because once you're gonna see some shit. Mr. Thillybug. This must be another one of the entertainment misters, right? Never mind. Save. Specimens of SB955 are to be contained in an outdoor steel screen kennel with a ceiling and a concrete floor that provides for sufficient drainage. The screen mesh should be sufficient to contain juvenile specimens, and the screen should be coated with anti-corrosives and regularly inspected for damage. Each kennel shall be of sufficient size to allow the specimen to exercise. It is recommended that each kennel contain a variety of durable rubber or plastic animal toys in order to reduce stress to the specimens. Specimens are to be nourished with 1 to 4 liters of fructose solution per day and are to have free access to clean fresh water. Personnel are advised to wear anti-corrosive protective gear when visiting the kennel area and to avoid inadvertently making threatening movements or startling the specimens. Yeah, I mean, you don't want that thing to be startled. Keepers at Site 34 have reported that playing recordings of soft music and the sound of children's laughter is effective in reducing anxiety in SB955. Specimens housed there. If a specimen of SB955 becomes distressed, a keeper should first confirm the integrity of his or her protective gear and slowly approach the specimen and make physical contact. Gently stroking the specimen upper thorax or carapace has been shown to soothe the specimen. And here it says specimen of SB955 collected in classroom of day school, Connecticut. A lovely look. Lovely being. SB955 is a species of arthropod-like land-dwelling creatures native to a temperate areas of North America. The organism averages between 20 and 200 centimeters in length and features a bulbous head superficially resembling that of a deep-sea fish, a large mouth with extensive dentition and surrounded by flagellum-like organs, 2 eyes on the crest and on top of the head, a large single antenna-like organ between the eyes, fin-like protuberances near the back of the head, and a long segmented body plan featuring multiple pairs of legs. Juveniles of SB955 are light gray in color, with mature specimens orange, range from tan to black. If startled or threatened, the organism will lift its head and thorax off the ground while emitting a shrieking cry. Then project a viscous, sticky, foul-smelling, caustic mucus in several directions from its mouth and protuberances and attempt to flee or burrow into the ground. Mature specimens of SB955 are capable of squirting the mucus for a distance of several meters. So I wasn't that wrong with vomiting. The mucus is corrosive to metals and most organic materials, including the tissues of living creatures, aside from SB955 itself, and contains a neurotoxin which makes unprotected skin contact with the mucus extremely painful. SB955 appears to possess a level of intelligence roughly comparable to a juvenile dog. The organisms are curious, highly social, playful, and attracted to bright colors. High-pitched sounds and sugars, each of the 23 3 collections of specimens of SB955 from its habitat to date has occurred when one or more of the organisms had encountered one or more humans, typically in wooden but populated area, playing fields, schoolyards, or similar places, frequently but by physically active humans. The SB955 organism attracted by the activity or sense will rapidly approach the humans while wiggling its facial organs and flapping its fin and emitting a growling or hissing sound. That's just okay. Study of SB955 behavior in captivity suggests that these sounds signal excitement and a desire to interact with the humans in a friendly or playful manner. Okay, good. But still, okay. When the humans who encounter instances of SB955 react with alarm or violence, the organism will exhibit the threat response behavior noted above. I'll spit on ya. Swallow this. It appears that in the absence of a mucus emission episode, dogs and children under the age of 7 generally do not perceive SB955's appearance or behavior to be alarming or threatening. Several children who had interacted with an SB955 specimen without adverse incident were asked to draw or describe the organism, with the result consistently representing SB955 as cute or fuzzy, which the footnote says Dr. Paddle speculates that SB955 may have some effect that causes young children as a class to perceive the organism differently from older children or adults, and also this effect appears to be an inverse of similar effects seen in SB252 and SB2662, involving fear and ritualistic devotion, respectively. Is 252 that one water creature that like creates like an illusion of being bigger than he actually is? Yep, it is. I was right. Haha! Ha-ho! Hee-hee! Young children in particular have been observed to enjoy interacting with SB955, often including maintaining close physical contact with them or handling them. The specimen depicted in the photograph, together with the several other specimens, have been encountered by kindergarten pupils at day school in Connecticut. The pupils designated specimens as Mr. Sillyburg and his babies and introduced them into the school facility, where they remained for several days until they encountered a mixed group of pupils in an adult faculty with traumatic results. The diet of SB955 is in its natural habitat is not known, but there are no indication that it's carnivorous. So that was not one of the entertainment misters, that's for sure. That's for sure. That ain't one of them. The Chowbreaker. What the fuck kind of title is that? That doesn't sound too good. That sounds a bit dangerous. I mean, a lot of SCPs are dangerous, but that what the Don't sneak up on me like that. Who the fuck do you think you are? Save. Euclid. I'm gonna send this to Matt. I'm not sure if she's here watching right now, but I'm gonna send it to her and just see how she reacts. It's just real quick. I wonder. Here we go. Fuck, where did I save it? Shit, there it is. I hope she still awake and sees this. It would be hilarious. I'll read you guys what she says. SB956 is to be kept at the approximate center of the standard humanoid containment cell at times to prevent incidental activation. Entrance into the room is only permitted once SB956 has entered a dormant state. Permission to bring a subject into the room must be cleared by Site Director to decrease the occurrence of SB956-1, as well as containing further spread. Users for testing. Individuals fulfilling SB956 activation requirement are not to be brought within 200 meters of SB956 containment area. Surveillance is to be maintained through security footage at all times. That looks like it's judging you. I'll find out if it does. That looks like it's judging you. Really? You gonna walk out in those pants and that shirt and those shoes? I taught you better than that. 78 instances of -1 are kept in a neighboring room in order to be maintained at a temperature of -4 degrees Celsius in order to prevent melting or destruction. Mass destruction. Any use of -1 is to be authorized by security clearance free personnel and to be carried out in the room identical to SB956 containment chamber. Any excess -1 created by tests with SB956 is to be incinerated unless authorized by personnel with security clearance free or higher, as are any extraneous instances of SB956. SB956 before containment after being separated from the piles of -1 and data expunged. Data redacted, excuse me. Okay, here we go. What does it do? Does it actually judge you? But with a title called Jawbreaker, I don't think it does. SB956 appears to be a common piñata resembling an unknown quadruped. Tests have revealed that although superficially similar to paper mache, SB956 is constructed by various amounts of glue, sugar, and unidentified fur and human tissue. SB956 has shown to be highly resistant to any sort of bludgeoning damage, with large amount of crushing force showing no damage to its structural integrity, though the use of gunfire as well as heat and flames have shown to be effective. By default, SB956 remains in a passive state. It shows no signs of locomotion or intelligence and displays no hostility. As long as this item's activation requirement is not met, the item will remain in this state indefinitely. See Addendum 956A. SB956 enters its active state when a human under the age of 12 enters within 5 meters of it. Oh, you're approaching me. Approximately 7 to 28 seconds after entering the active zone, the child becomes unable to move, holding any instance they had at the time. The victim is incapable of motion or speech, although it remains alive. I am worried where this is going. Its rapidly moving eyes suggest that it retains awareness. SB956 moves towards the victim and bludgeons him or her until the torso ruptures. Upon breach, the victim's body discharges a large pile of unmarked candy ranging from 23 to 1,323 pieces. Instances of this candy are designated as -1. SB956 repeats this for any other immobilized victims before returning to a docile state. This pinata got enough. He's like, I got enough of being the victim here. You all can think you can just beat the shit out of me and get some candy out of me without any repercussions? No. No. Oh god, okay. A victim can be removed from SB956 activation range if retrieved promptly. Upon moving the victim 12 meters away from it, SB956 returns to its passive state. The victim, however, shows no signs of recovering from its immobilized state and appears to remain in such a state indefinitely. Oh no. Autopsies of unbroken victims show that the body had severely dehydrated, leaving them brittle. Autopsies also reveal that pieces of -1 have begun to grow out of the victim's organs, using the tissue as a component. The amount of -1 appears to be directly correlated to spend in SB956 activation radius. I have to tell her now. Spoiler alert. It doesn't. It's pretty brutal. -1's effects vary depending upon the age of the human consuming them. Humans at the age of 12 years old go into the seizure within 3 minutes of consumption, with a 5% possibility of cardiac arrest. There's an approximately 35% chance of survival for such subjects. Animals suffer similar effects regardless of age. Children under the age of 12 undergo a different effect. If the first enter a similar state to the immobilized victims of SB956, although they assume a standing stance with their arms resting in front of them, the subject then experiences in sequence rapid hair loss, a spreading of paper mache from the skin, and a complete restructuring of bone and muscles. The process takes 9 minutes to complete. Upon completion, the victim has transformed into another instance of SB956. These copies behave identical to SB956. There is a 0% chance of survival for the victim. Addendum A. SCP-956 has recently begun to show locomotion outside of testing. It began to wander around its containment, tracing the perimeter of the room. It did this for about an hour before staring at the spot on the wall. A review of the footage shows that it faced this wall after deactivating during previous tests. Security has confirmed that SCP-956 is facing directly towards an elementary school. That school is kilometers away. Reclassification to Euclid status requested. Dr. N. Reclassification to Euclid granted. It is if its effects appear to reach beyond its containment, it is to be transferred to site, which should keep it far enough away from potential victims. Retrieve any paralyzed victims or -1 and administer Class A amnestics to witness and family. We don't need any more of these things around. Site Director S. Well, shit. Who would have thought? This pinata got hands. Whew, okay, that's next 3, baiting. Well, we have a lot of SCPs that use voice as bait. What if it uses something else? Your desires, your internal, your most biggest of wishes, your sexual fantasy and everything else. And then you're like, oh god, it's right there. And then you walk around the corner and then this is ginormous SCP and it's like, gotcha. Keto, well, that already tells me it's gonna be dangerous. SCP-957 is to be monitored via remote video surveillance set up within the location where it currently resides. Personnel are allowed to approach and interview the entity when given clearance by 4 level 3 or higher employees. 1 D-class subject is to inhabit the closest residence of SCP-957's location as possible in order to minimize civilian exposure to the entity. SCP-957's house is to be monitored for signs of -1 exhibiting unusual behavior, namely feigning helplessness due to blindness. If this is observed, a D-class subject is to be sent to escort -1 back into its house. SCP-957 is a humanoid entity currently residing within a house in Kentucky. This organism measures approximately 2 meters in height and 75 kilograms in weight. He's so tall and weighs that little and appears to be devoid of internal organs. Okay, that makes sense. That explains a lot. As observed via a large opening on its ventral torso. Furthermore, it does not appear to require sleep or nourishment. Interacting with personnel has shown that the entity is capable of speech and is fluent in English, but prefers to talk in currently an unknown language. It is not openly hostile towards Foundation personnel, yet often refuses to cooperate with interviews and testing. Attempts to restrain SCP-957 for those purposes have been proven ineffective due to the entity's disproportionate levels of strength. SCP-957 will always reside in a house inhabited by a single human, hereby designated -1. When the instance of -1 that SCP-957 is living with dies, the entity will demanifest from the location and reappear in the nearest location that fits the above-mentioned requirements. Upon doing this, it will seek out the individual residing there and force the human body through an apparent portal via its chest cavity. When the subject will remain for approximately 4 hours before emerging. After this, -1 will be missing its eyes, as well as exhibiting drastic change to its memories. These individuals will believe that they have been blind all of their life and possess knowledge of Braille and living without sight. Additionally, they will believe that SCP-957 is a close family member, a dear friend, or a partner in an intimate relationship that have been severely burned all over its body. As such, they show affection for the entity but refuse to touch it. That's fucked up. Can we just say, we got some dark ones in the 950s. There's some dark stuff. Once every month, Dash 1 will go into crowded areas and feign distress due to its blindness. It appears to do this in order to deceive people into helping it back to its house. And that's how it baits people. Oh. If Dash 1 is unable to do this, SB957 will go out and retrieve the subject. However, it appears to dislike doing this. What a clever way of using the idea of a monster baiting people. I mean, the one thing that there's another way, of course. It was also the one that baited a child and then kept the child hostage and used the child so the child would cry, and then an adult would be like, "Oh shit, there's a child crying over there. Let me go," and then his thing would be like, eat it. So it's always interesting to see how many different ways SCPs are like, how could I make a person come to me without suspecting anything? Once Dash 1 has successfully lured a human subject into the building, it will lock the doors, shout, walk to the dining room, and sit down until SB957 addresses it after dealing with the human. At this point, SB957 will approach the human, and a black spherical barrier will surround the two subjects. This obstruction is composed of an unknown substance and is apparently impenetrable. Why am I having difficulty saying this word? Penetrate. Impenetrable. There we go. The structure usually remains in place for approximately 5 hours. However, it has been noted to demanifest as early as 30 minutes after manifestation and as late as 27 hours after manifestation. The human normally appears to have undergone extreme physical alteration during this time. There's a footnote that says, except additional limbs, routine scales, rearrangement of appendages. Ooh. In 30% of observed cases, the human is reduced to piles of organs seemingly organized by the respective biological system. SB957 usually then uses the remains to prepare a meal for Dash 1. The other 70% are taken to the fireplace of the house and burned. Addendum Gamma. On the 16th 10th 2006, SCP-957 was known to approach a retrieved human during the normal monthly event. The opaque barrier normally surrounding the subject manifested as usual, however it was noted to randomly become transparent. Yet still present during this event, personnel reported that the view from the area showed a single group of entities resembling SB957 gathered around the comical object that was mostly obscured by the figures. However, it appeared that the captured human was within the construct and that the entities were redacted, which continued for approximately 5 hours. At this point, the human, presumably dead, was removed from the subject dismembered, and sorted into piles of organs. At this point, the barrier demanifested and SB957 along with the human remains reappeared within the house. Addendum Lambda. As of the 13th 3rd 2007, Foundation linguists have managed to translate enough of SB957's language to decipher basic sentence and phrases spoken by the entity. This information is not to be made known to SB957 and personnel are to continue to communicate with it solely in English. Omega. On the 6th 2008, SB957 was noted to engage in an extended conversation in its native language with an unseen individual. The audio from the exchange was recorded by hidden audio-video recording devices with the house, translated by Foundation linguists and transcribed below. How much longer do I have to stay here? It will be a while, friend/brother. Your disguise is working wonderfully, and your unknown threat is extremely convincing. Much better than that redacted. Which has a footnote that says the description is detailed by the unseen entity closely resembles that of SCP. Investigation is underway to discover the connection between these two objects, but no overt similarities have yet been found. True. It is just boring and tiresome down here. No wonder unknown Vip destroyed his unknown Wolfred. These physical, real, unclean formed bodies are so restraining painful. SB957 stretches. Patience. We have to let them watch the few so that the many family group can work freely. We're done with our research watching soon enough. Do not worry. Understood. Excellent. I will speak to you at the next unknown audit. Speaking of which, you should create another false scenario again. Yes, sometime soon. I will see you next time. That footnote says 3 months after this, an incident resembling the events for Addendum Gamma occurred. Okay. Man, there's some creepy things in the 950s. I gotta say, there's some creepy shit. Last one, General Beep. Like beep as in like, or beep as in that's his name. Or as beep as in beep beep, I'm a sheep. Beep beep, I'm a sheep. Beep beep. you got to beep beep. I'm just saying, like there's a lot. Lol, no. Switzerland won. Well, would have been nice. But Switzerland never wins, so. Oh, I mean, I don't really recall any like good Swiss. I mean, the one in, was it 2020? No, 2019. That was a good one from Switzerland. I remember that because I remember like they got 0 points from the public. Yeah. What can you do? I remember that one because I watched it with my motion graphics class. Like my teacher just pulled it up and we just watched Eurovision while we were doing our own projects, and we just gave them rating like, oh yeah, that's kind of dope. But most of the time I don't judge the music that much. I actually judge more like the cinematography and the camera work and the effect on the light, the lighting effects and all that. Because like when I rewatched the song from 2019 from Switzerland, I was like, okay, the song doesn't really work that well, but like I like the lighting, I like the what they did with it. But yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that Switzerland didn't do so well. I feel like they haven't done well the last 2 times before as well, so safe. SB958-A instances are to be contained in storage unit 11 at site in an inactive state. SB958-B instances are to be contained in storage unit 13 at site if neutralization is not feasible. SB958-A is a humanoid toy robot composed primarily of plastic and tin, excuse me. Oh god, I have this. SB958-A is a 19 centimeter tall and has a mass of 214.8 grams. The word General Beep by Dr. One, of course, Dr. One Entertainment, who else would it be, are inscribed upon the bottom of SB958-A's right foot. When activated via a switch on the back of the head, -A became capable of speech and limited autonomous movement. It will use these to actively seek out a child under the age of 13, while it will respond to those those off or over the age of 13. It will often attempt to redirect conversation toward aiding it to finding a child. When exposed to a child under the age of 13, -A will frequently discuss historical military accomplishment and will often suggest exposing other children to it or other instances of -A. These conversations exhibit no compulsive effects, and the child is to be able to activate -A via a switch without any resistance should the child express interest in what -A discusses and or plays with an active -A for a cumulative 6 hours. -A will give the child information on how to build an instance of -B. Why do I get such Chucky vibes for this fucking thing? How about we just hide somewhere and I do a little ritual, and then it's gonna be fun. It's not like I need your body or anything. This information cannot be used by anyone other than the child in question. Attempts by other individuals to utilize it will result in a non-anomalous creation, with similar results when previously exposed child turns 13. Further mental effects caused by -A are currently being studied. However, it is highly likely that -A somehow affects how children interpret -B and scenarios involving them. Furthermore, unconfirmed testimonies claim -A will suggest uses for -B in games and activities. For further information, see Addendum A. Dash B are objects created using a knowledge imparted by Dash A. Dash B instances vary greatly in appearance and function, but all records instances have been weapons or some form created from a wide variety of miscellaneous objects. Common examples include condiment bottles, planks of wood, glass bottles, duct tape, and rubber bands. It's the kids next door weapons. Ammunition and payloads used by Dash B are unconventional and/or anomalous. Notable examples include bursts of non-anomalous paint, toys, and plush dolls eject at high speed, and beams of focus light capable of melting steel. It is the kids next door weapons. Don't even lie to me. Don't even fucking lie to me. That's exactly how the weapons work. Addendum A. SCP-958 was originally detected in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on the 4th, 12th, 1986. 13 children accompanying... Again, 13... I need to learn to mute myself whenever I'm about to like clear my throat out, because it's not everybody likes to hear that. So, I mean, maybe most people don't like to hear that. 13 children accompanied by 11 instances of Dash A and 15 instances of Dash B were seen walking to an abandoned industrial complex on the southern edge of the city. The children entered one of the buildings after destroying its entrance to several Dash B. There's a fucking robbery! Oh, what are you gonna do with that, kid? Shoot me? Fuck yeah, I will. Now give me all your money. Foundation forces removed in the building in an effort to contain SCP-958 without harming the children. Fuck them kids! Beyond the door that would have otherwise contained the facility, furnace was an extra-dimensional space that was similar to the rest of the building, albeit heavily degraded and rusted. Within the extra-dimensional space, the MTF encountered dozens of non-anomalous individuals, with most suffering from injuries likely caused by industrial accidents, within a room filled with dilapidated industrial equipment. Objects produced and all had the factory emblazoned on them. Most of the children were using Dash B instances to attack the equipment and single anomalous entity. No. With multiple limbs, while two were using non-lethal Dash B to incapacitate those who tried to interfere, including the MTF. As the MTF prioritized evacuation, the workers claimed to have entered the factory floor as early as 1928, despite not matching the age that were required. Those who could were reintegrated into society, with the remaining number integrated into the D-class program. The children were able to terminate the anomalous entity and reduce it to ash prior to the Foundation being able to disable them. Upon the death of the entity, all power within the facility was lost. The children were then allowed themselves to be captured and their SCP-958 deactivated and confiscated. The briefing of the children revealed no major cognitive changes and none exhibited signs of acting under enormous compulsion. They all claimed they had been playing a game, the rules and location of which were suggested by the Dash A. Each were given amnestics and returned to the caretakers with suitable cover stories without issue. As of 2014, none of the children of the older families have been detected to be part of any anomalous phenomena. While 4 other instances of Dash A have been recovered since, no other assaults on location held by the factory have been detected on to date. And there's an interview. Hello, Dash A. That's General Beep to you, Lieutenant. Sorry. Hello, General Beep. I want to ask you some questions. Permission to speak freely? At ease. Ask away. Where do you come from? General Beep is the intellectual property of Dr. Wanda Damon. Of course you are. Well, can you tell me about the child you were with? Ellen. Well, actually, I'm gonna give this like a... never mind. Ellen was a good little soldier, very creative thinker. I miss her. She was good at listening. What kind of things would you tell her? Of the many human militaristic accomplishments throughout history, such as the people it has freed and the technological advances it has funded. Oh man, now I'm in the mood for some Wendy Goon videos. What about telling you how to create Dash B, the weapons? Weapons? We confiscated what Ellen described as a laser rifle, which I personally watched melt at a conveyor belt. We're fairly sure one of the kids was pushing an IED around in a little red wagon. There seems to be a misunderstanding, Lieutenant. Those are toys, like myself. The children used them to play games. So storming that place was a game. A very fun game. What if the children hurt themselves with those toys and that place was really dangerous? Dr. Valentine is not liable for any personal or property damage or loss, which may result from the operation of General Beep. However, I did make sure Ellen had her Dr. Valentine's Young Surgeon's Transplant Kit with her, which says, see SB 1103 for more information. How considerate. The one thing I don't get, why not just send an army of little robots or big robots? Dr. Valentine can mass produce things with that much power. Why does he need outside help? Why involve kids at all? Because Dr. Valentine is a toy maker. Duh. Duh. Toy. Fucking idiot. Last one. Called the Boogeyman. Ooh. What is the Boogeyman for you guys? What is your version of the Boogeyman? Of course, like the stereotype would be like, of course, like some sort of like humanoid black figure that just like vanish when you have the lights on, reappears when you have the lights off, and always underneath the bed and waits for you to fall asleep so you can just. But some people have different ideals or versions of the Boogeyman. I think mine. I think mine was basically a headless human being. Like it had legs, so that of course you can hear like the footsteps, like, and like the wood making a sound whenever like it would step over it. But for some reason in my imagination the Boogeyman would not have a head. It would just be this headless being that's like, and he's super fast. And I think the reason why it was headless in my idea is because it's so hard to like think of a face in the dark or even see a face in the dark, that the idea that it just doesn't have a head at all was what was implanted in my head, and then that made it for me much more creepier. So for me, the Boogeyman was like a headless humanoid being. But yeah. Okay, good. This one's short. Safe. Oh, that's good to know. The Boogeyman is apparently safe. SB959 is to be sequestered in a 6x8 meter room at the site with adequate furnishings and reading material for comfort within SB guidelines. Only personnel who have passed psychological screening may interact with SB959. All personnel entering the room must obtain a copy of the photograph in the file tray next to the door as a reminder that what they are observing is in fact the phenomenon SB959 exhibits. This photo will be placed back into the tray upon exiting. Any overtly apparent behavior exhibiting by personnel beyond mild revolution must be recorded and said personnel transferred to other duties, often after further screening sees them fit to do so. SB959 is not to be given any food outside of the diet prescribed by physician due to the recent diagnosis. See Addendum A. Subject is not allowed outside of this room without an armed guard present at all times for protection and only during exercise regimens. See Addendum A. SB959 is allowed standard personnel grooming equipment and access to a razor and mustache racks to maintain his appearance as long as no signs of tendencies towards self-mutilation are shown. Under no circumstances is SB959 allowed to interact with other sentient SCPs unless the purpose of testing and only by the express written approval of Dr. Under no circumstances are any personnel who were previously assigned SCP-231-7 to be assigned to SB959 to do data expunged. More information, see video attachment to incident report. Let's see. 2. 2, 3, 1 -7. Wait, isn't? Yeah. 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 That's the 7 girls. Yeah, I remember. Subject ability initially activated on 2000 at airport during the boarding of flight to the incident report. The manifestation in question only occurs when a sentient being is looking directly at SB959. He then takes on the appearance of someone who or something from the being's past memory that was the cause of greatest personal discomfort. This reaction seems to be completely involuntarily and continuous regardless of whether SB959 is asleep or awake. Reaction to the manifestation have ranged from mild discomfort to redacted. Each D-level personnel exposed during testing reported seeing something different exclusive to the individual. See document 1A. The area of effect seems to extend to approximately a 37-meter radius in all directions as long as the subject is within a direct line of sight. Manifestation does not occur when viewed through a secondary electronic source such as camera. Mirrors, however, seem to be returned to the manifestation as they were expunged, often perceived as mocking them. SB959 still sees a reflection in mirrors as normal as time of this report. SB959 is a 35-year-old Caucasian male with brown eyes, bald head, and brown handlebar mustache, standing approximately 1.6 meter tall and weighing 137 kilograms. Jesus, this guy's heavy. Its features can only be observed through cameras or indirect viewing at range to the manifestation. And then A, upon admission to site, SB959 underwent full medical screening. Tests confirmed SB959 is currently suffering from mild adult onset diabetes and has been prescribed oral medication along with a diet and exercise regimen that must be adhered to. Application of SB500, yeah, the red pills, the wonder pills, fix everything. Considered but rejected as the condition is considered to be reversible and not life-threatening if the physician's instructions are followed. Antidepressants have shown prescribed to the isolation due to the manifestation is taking a negative psychological toll. And then B. Has been classified safe after exhibiting no sign of desire to escape. Dr. Addendum C. Months after being brought to the Foundation, the subject has requested to be involved in Foundation matters, claiming, "I want to be useful in some way." SB959 believes the Foundation to be a positive influence on the world despite redacted, and could be of use during interrogation. Subject was warned that this would be highly unlikely, but a request was submitted and is pending a determination. Dr. I didn't really want to waste anyone's time on this, but just saying it would make the poor bastard stop crying. Watching him crying while looking like redacted really made me feel ill. Dr. Experiment log. Subject in SB959 placed in 2-cell chamber, walled off from one another with a 10-centimeter thick sheet of shatterproof plexiglass. SB959 was told to sit in the chair and not speak. The subject stared and shook his head and muttered for approximately 5 minutes. Before being asked what he had seen, subject replied, "He looks just like my dead brother. I wasn't able to redact it." Subject was escorted from the room without incident. The subject began to apologize profusely, apparently believing the manifestation to be her mother. Subject made promises that she would redact it. Subject had to be forcibly removed from the testing chamber and sedated. The subject immediately began screaming in a high-pitched, incomprehensible tone and started clawing at the door and tried to attack the guard when it was open. Subject was terminated. Lip reading specialist on site believes that what was being screamed was redacted. Agent. Subject stared at SB959 for approximately 5 minutes before being asked what he was looking at. Subject suddenly began crying and confessing to the response. Subject had to be removed and sedated. Upon removal of the subject, SB959 vomited and asked the testing to be halted for the day. Ooh, the boogeyman. All right. And here we go. So, polymorphic humanoid. I think that one it's a bit scary. I gotta say. It's a bit scary to have a fox that can transform into anything, like the thing from John Carpenter's The Thing, the alien. Not only that, but also just absolutely destroys you. Like when it wants to eat you, it wants to eat you, and will then make you eat other humans without you realizing it. It's kind of messed up. It's kind of dog. The child break is also really dog. Let's be honest. It transforms the child into a piñata, and then proceeds to break it. That is very dog as well. And the baiting, there's a lot of dog ones. The baiting just takes a random human being and just give it the love of Jesus inside this pocket dimension that he has in his own stomach. Then he comes out, is blind, and believes that this monster that just did all these things to them is a dear friend or family member or lover. Just for the blind person to be like, I'm going outside. Oh shit, I don't know where I am. Sir, my house is this, and the sir or the woman is like, let me bring you there, and the next thing you know, this SCP is just waiting like, yes, we shall feast. Clothes dryer, that's also, again, a bit creepy, but also more nasty as well. I mean, you just put like sweaty, stinky clothes in, and next thing you know, saliva dripped, blood dripped, stains and all that stuff, and different article of clothing pop out, and you're like, this is not mine. I never had a wife beater shirt with fucking puke stains on them. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's yeah. General beep. I think it's just funny because it reminds me of The Kids Next Door. It reminds me so hardcore of The Kids Next Door. Because like their weapons were all like bottle guns and all that stuff, but they were like super powerful and actually like did damage and all that. The boogeyman, I think the boogeyman is just it's a wholesome one. Not fully, because at the end the people that look at him do freak the hell out, but I think he himself is like, I was trying to help out. Vocalizing frogs. Yeah. The fact that they change they can give you a massive headache with like, and something inside you just grows so much that you get a painful headache, and of course you also see shadowy figures in around the corner. Honestly, the vocalizing frogs and boogeyman they should not work together. If they ever work together, then you have a dangerous combination. You have somebody that you're not comfortable with in front of you, and potential shadow figures around the corner. So you're like, Mr. Sillybug, he doesn't look that silly and more frightening, honestly. Any like deep sea fish just look bizarre. My friend Lucas, another wholesome one. I'm so glad we had another wholesome one. This one was a lot of fun to read. Just a video game glitch that is like, hey man, I'll help you out. Don't worry about it. We'll beat the game. Thank you for being my friend. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's wholesome. NP Rock. There is a big story behind it, which I'm pretty sure is gonna be fucking awesome to read, especially now that I know that Veronica has like some goal, and there's a whole bunch of more shit to read about her. So I'm definitely gonna read that in private. I'm not gonna record that like the experiment logs of 914, because I'm already doing the recording of 914. I don't want to add more to that. It only takes forever. I'm done with part 10. There's still 9 more parts to read. It just takes too long, and I just don't want to overwork myself on this. But hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. Today has been a fun stream, I would say. The monster definitely helped energizing me a bit more, being a bit more goofy. Tomorrow we're gonna have the SB960s, which which I know that we're getting close and close to 900 999, which I heard, which I know is a very famous one. And I can't wait to get there. I know it's like some sort of blob. I just want to know what it does. But yeah, I hope I see you all tomorrow for the next stream. And I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening. I'm just going to stay up now, drink my monster, play some games. But yeah, thank you so much. The Afro is with you.